Yo, like how MechMan said big goo and it auto-translated into I'm going in all capitals. Good shit. Right in time for suppler. Damn, lunch in this economy? Look, lunch is an important meal. Right in the middle there. Lunchtime stream, what is this, Central Daylight Time? I don't know what that means. Aren't they getting rid of that? Aren't we finally getting rid of daylight savings? I don't know. I heard that. Maybe it's some bill that'll never get passed and they'll try to add a rider onto it. Some poison pill so that no one can vote for it or whatever. I thought they were getting rid of that. I would be for it. As a hermit who never goes outside, daylight savings time is bullshit. Why would you change what time it is to and fro during the year? Back an hour and then forward an hour? Just don't change it. What's the problem? Got my morning coffee here. Delicious. Crazy auto-translate. Look, auto-translate's funny. It's just funny sometimes. I'm going to put on a microblank playlist this time. Maybe we'll get some atmospheric empty mall space. Windows 95 sound and ass. Playlisties. Anyway, game screen turn on. You wish they would do that here in the UK? You guys do the daylight savings time too? I don't get it. What's the hang up? Clearly it's got something to do with society, okay, which I ostensibly live in to a degree. And it's possible that I'm too hermit-pilled to understand. I'm leaving myself a little parachute there. But I don't see why you would want daylight savings time. One day you wake up and you've woken up wrong. Like, why? Don't do that. Solid Singularity thinks it's a big primer. 16 months on a 2-month streak. Not bad. TYVM. Thanks for liking my stuff. The amount of mental health issues reported at both switchovers is insane. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. It's like annoying, but I don't know if it's a mental health issue. Oh, you mean from other people? I don't get it, but yeah, this might be one of the things I'm too hermit to understand. Absolutely huge lunch. Lunches from the past 47 years had caused his cummerbund to droop all the way down to the mezzanine floor. Or something to that effect. I can't remember the exact quote. P.G. Wodehouse, any humorist authors from the 1930s? Enjoyers in the chat? He wrote Wooster and Jeeves. Anyway, there's your educational reference for the stream. It's supposed to be so that farmers get more daylight in the fields, but they are out when it's dark either way. Yeah. You just work whenever you should work. A lot of farmers are kind of farming day or night. It's just whatever the right time is to do it. I don't know. Again, not a farmer, don't know the intricacies. I've read the Farmer's Almanac a few times. That thing was kind of neat as a kid. Because the sun is a coward and won't come out during winter. That's because winter is the best season. And part of being the best season is you don't get a lot of sunlight because the sun is trash. It's the bringer of all life. But don't like looking at it. Overcast days are the best days. Get a little pre-sip out there. Speaking of pre-sip, let me get my coffee. No Pink Chan build-up. We're breaking new ground, yeah. Well, I wanted to just play the game. So there's that. If you want, the ogre could walk through Freeport and then find some pink-haired human. We could simulate, we could do a walk, Freeport, Japan. You work in healthcare, so that's what you noticed? No, that's important information. I didn't think about that angle. Apparently it's been done before, but people get hurt and killed in the winter because the mornings are pitch black. Well, we have headlights now. I don't know how long ago that happened. But cars have headlights. Cities got lights. I don't know. How long ago did we try that? Rusty halberd. No. Not today. The issue is that the threshing machine does not have headlights. It sure does. Farming equipment in 2026? Shit's got basically everything a car has, except crumple zones. Reading the Farmer's Almanac is a rite of passage for any Midwesterner. Yeah, it's true. You are born, they do that slap so you start breathing. They give you an orange hat and a shotgun. Hand you a Farmer's Almanac to read in the waiting room while mom fills out the paperwork. Give them a PBR, Marb Red, American Spirit if you're a hipster. And maybe a recurve bow if you're an old soul. But I think those things are... I don't know if anybody uses those anymore. We did when we were kids. Shit was cool. He's so fucking lunch-pilled. I'm just a noticer. Noticing lunches. You like Robert E. Howard? He's a cool author. Hey, alright? I think it's more of an issue when you get up to work and come back and never see the sun. That sounds like heaven. That is the description of the positive afterlife. It also depends on where you live. If I woke up and never saw the sun and then went to sleep, make my week. Rip Howard. I gotta escape from this place. Get the fuck out of here. Gate. Yeah, I mean in the US though, like, you know, whenever the morning happens to be is going to be different if you're in California or New York. Right. I seem to be being attacked while trying to hearth out. Alright. Just leveling another random class on D4, trying to get some motes. I'm going to do some Plane of Fear today, probably, and some Plane of Sky. Plane of Fear for a little breastplates, a few AAs maybe, and Plane of Sky because I have a shitload of Plane of Sky quests to still do. Doing Plane of Sky for random 1 million different quest items to kind of Pikachu collect all the classes is sort of like the end game, if you will, of EQL at the moment. Is farming Plane of Sky and all of its intricacies, killing all the raid bosses on D4 every week. Those are like the two things you do. Besides moat farming and AA farming, which are separate. You can even do a quest or two. There's like 5 things to do. Holy shit. Look at this big dumbass weapon. Stupid thing. He's swinging. Dumb question, is social aggro real jacked up in EQL? You keep getting social aggro from mobs on different floors and through walls in Befallen. That is standard EverQuest behavior. That is not new. Randomly pulling aggro from floors above or below you or through walls, that is a feature. That is a historic feature of EverQuest spaghetti code. Older than the sun. Now the aggro ranges are increased as you move up in difficulties, so like D4 stuff will pull from farther away. So there are tweaks to it that are more dangerous. But that's just part of the landscape. Was a class combo running with this big guy? It's not really a class combo. I just picked something that I didn't have leveled at all, which was Cleric. And I'm like, alright, I'm going to put on a bunch of Plane of Sky gear and level Cleric from 10 to 20 in D4 Befallen just to get some motes. So it's not really a combo, it's more like they are ferrying a Cleric through some mote farming levels. We're just a little ferry system. Are we allowed to talk about AOS during EQL streams? Absolutely, yes. Is that poor taste? It is not poor taste. No. Look, having chat to respond to, no matter what the topic really, is greatly preferred to an empty chat room that doesn't speak. You know? I'll take it. Every time I'll take it. My interests are diverse-ish, right? I'll talk about anything. Damn, that's a nice lamppost, true. Typical farm cells. To be clear, you hate changing the clocks also. Yeah, I do too. Feel like you could catch yourself on the bottom spikes when you swung the top bit. Yeah, it's not a weapon for tight quarters. $40K sucks right now, also high. It's 2026. 40K players say the game sucks right now. It's 2020. 40K players say the game sucks right now. I'm in college in the year 2000. 40k players say the game sucks right now. Also, they're mad that Tau came out. Alright, I'm finally gonna do it. I'm finally going to North Freeport. I think. Wait, no, this is, that's right. This is East Freeport, right next to there. I'm gonna buy the stupid tiny daggers for pulling. I've resisted it for this long, and I shouldn't have. I believe, I don't know, the only ones I know about are sold in the Bard Guild, so we're going to the Bard Guild. It's September 1987. 40k, having been just invented, sucks right now. I don't mean to dismiss your complaint, because it's entirely possible that all those people were right every time. Recently started playing War Machine 4th, pretty goo. Insert Watchmen, yeah, Dr. Manhattan meme, for sure. Have you ever given the AOS Soulbound RPG a try? Yes. I found it interesting. Played a few sessions, maybe 4 or 5 of it. What I liked most about Soulbound was them fleshing out the lore of the world and the Anvil Guard and all that. That was the coolest part, probably. I thought their encounter zones mechanic was kind of fresh and interesting, kind of elegant. I like that part. Where instead of using sort of arbitrary amounts of feet that make less and less sense the more you think about it, they're just like, no, this is an encounter area, and the range of stuff is one area. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Keep it snappy, you know? Some other stuff. It's a dice pool game. Extremely homogenous. It reminded me of Mutants and Masterminds for how, like, crazy homogenous the rules were. And, like, no matter what you did, it's just like you're rolling this many dice. It felt kind of, I don't know, kind of vanilla in that respect. But it was a fun little system. Not something I would play a lot, but I liked the lore. And they didn't just, like, fuck it. Also, the Soulbound team that made that little TTRPG, more employees than the people who made all of Age of Sigmar from GW. Okay, I guess the little throwing dagger is not here. Could it be in the monk place? I should just look this up. Throwing knife. North Freeport. Jekyll Einhild or Markin Iron White. Okay. Are you on Find, you two? Any Jelkers? Jelker Einhand? Jelker Einrand? Oh. It's this guy. So they do sell them. Oh, maybe I can't use them as my classes. Or I'm blind and I just didn't see it and it was there. I am blind and I didn't see it and it's just there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We do some combining. I should have just bought 8. I don't know why I bought 9. Well, now I gotta buy 7 more. It'll be a combiner. Okay, well, it's good that I looked it up, because looking it up confirmed that the streamer was blind. There we go. Robert Pullman. Bleeding Books has a merch page? Yeah, it does. Is that actually true? You thought Soulbound Team was like super small? Good meme. Yeah, they are super small. They are a very small team. Most TTRPG teams are pretty small, though. It just doesn't require 100 people to work on. Typically, right? And I'm talking about just the rules portion, you know. Like, there's playtesters and stuff like that, but... Anyway, good meme, yeah. Soulbound Team was very small. It's just the Games Workshops was even smaller by a lot. It didn't show, though. Like, you could hardly tell looking at third and fourth. Temporarily lost. Okay, there. Is this the premier boomer MMO streamer? HeyWoah. Well, yes and no. I am boomer coded, and I am a streamer. Premier, though? You got some... I think there's some 200 Andes streaming EQL at the moment. Maybe 3 or 4 of them. You really hope EQL is successful. It's as successful as it was ever going to be. Look, there's dozens of us. Okay? It's marketed towards, finally, I'm using this literally, actual Gen X, okay? Truly. That's the Gen X who in the year 1999 had no friends and were losers. That's the demo. Now they're married, retired, their kids are in college, and they're on Social Security. And they're like, oh shit, dude, I remember being in Hollis and getting the polar bear hat. Let's fucking go. Oh, nice. Yeah, they're retired, all right. You can't say that. My uncle's retired. He has a live-in caretaker. It was for Gen Z, thus lay claim to the chat. I suppose, yeah. I got multi-dimensional. Particularly the y-axis. Even playing a fan server shitty old Disney MMORPG called Toontown. Hey, that's interesting because that is the etymology of where calling your character a toon comes from. In colloquial MMO parlance and typical linguistic perspicacity, people call their character a toon. Oh, I got a toon to 50. Like that. It comes from Toontown. That's where that comes from. And you can always tell if somebody started with Dungeons & Dragons first because they'll call it a char, like a CHAR isn't a character. Fake walls. We love fake illusory walls. It's fun. More like Groomtown. Actually, no. That was a later thing. That was more like Smash, Minecraft, Discord. You know. Furries, for sure. It was more that era. That was a little later. Deep gaming lore. Hell yeah. That's what I'm here for. The wisdom of the elders coming through on the stream. It's about as good as it can get player-wise. I think so, yeah. Well, no, the best, as good as it could get player-wise was THJ. that had more people. But that was better. So, you know, what are you going to do? Big word of mouth, too. This is still fun, though. Very different spin on EverQuest. This one is more true to life. THJ was a giant developer experiment. Could we turn classic EverQuest into Path of Exile 1? That was their, like, goal. And the answer was yes. And it was sweet. This one is like, can we make Paladin better than Shadow Knight? Because we have a chip on our shoulder and we've held it for 25 years? And the answer was yes. Still pretty fun, though. It being free probably also helped. Yeah, a little bit, just to try it, you know. Not, like, huge, though. Is why you're thankful you're a melee player, not a Smash player, and they only assaulted adult women. Yeah. You sold the Sleeper, literally best MMO ever made. Yeah, the shit was cash. And they facilitated so many different playstyles being great, like being the best form of that playstyle. EQL really doesn't do that. They got you on rails, for the most part. Although DDD slipped through, and we are exploiting early and often on that one until they fix it. Very fun. I'm trying out a new build here, so I might get wrecked on stream, but I'm switching out Wizard for Paladin. Because it's a tank class, you can take 8 of 8 Steadfast Will, become immune to stuns, even from the back. And hence, being immune to stuns means I can choose a race that starts with 100 more intelligence than an ogre does, which means more mana. Which means I'm chilling at something like a hair shy of 9k mana, which is a lot. Oh, never mind. 9k is in the group version. This one's 7,500. A little less. Cello Inviso. CO Day 1 Tekken Pools is Resident Sleeper. Yeah, these are PlayStation 1 can produce mind-bending effects. For sure. Do a little Accelerando. I'm wondering if I can do D4. I can do D3 pretty comfortably. As the wizard version, it's just a little too glass cannon. You chill in evasive stance, and your endurance is gone in seconds. It's kind of a rough one, kid. I'm wondering if defensive or even mage hunter stance can carry me through. Like being a paladin, can I live long enough to do D4? That's really the question here. DDD is Denon's Disruptive Dirge or something like that. 3D. Doug Dimmadome, Diamond Donovan Douglas. 3D. It's a Bard AoE. It's the best AoE in the entire game. By a lot. And it's kind of well known in the private server community as being overpowered. But that's fine. It depends on how strong you want the characters in your solo-friendly game to be, you know? Like, how powerful ought they be? That's a vision question, right? Did I miss? I think I missed. There we go. Alright, group them up. I am losing a little bit of mana in Channeler stance. Maybe defensive will be better. And a lot of these things are casting. Badoosh. Now can my paladin weapon just finish this guy off because I don't have any single target spells? Yeah, I guess. That'll work. The fucking pimp walk after you fight something. D4, kill 5 mobs in 10 seconds and then sit around for 30 seconds watching your mana bar come back. This is the kind of low energy streaming we're here for. Hit the nail on the head, THJ versus EQL. THJ was the Marvel vs. Capcom version of every class. Of course, you can play 3 pet classes and they get multiplicatively synergized. Yeah. And you could have all 3 out at once. Right. THJ was really like kind of dead set on, and really responsive, to be honest. The devs were very good, I found. They're like, no. If there's a play style here, we ought to support that play style, or at least try to. You know, I believe the most popular class combination on THJ was the triple pet one. Was it the most powerful one? No. But it's just popular. People like pets. It was funny. You get 3 fucking pets out. That's funny. And a little bit of a passive play style, but not too much. I mean, what does Melee do? You hit Q and you stand here and talk to chat. Like, is it that less interactive than a pet doing the same thing? You can bind pet attack to Q. It's the same thing as being a paladin, right? Like, whatever. No, people like they pets and some other stuff. This is the plane of fear, so stuff just randomly pulls constantly. So you'll be wasting mana to blast them. The downside of this particular specific build, the one with paladin instead of wizard, is I have no single target at all. So if I ever run out of mana, I'm like hitting stuff with Aldrin, Blade of the Ocean. And no haste, and like no melee haste, and no melee bard songs, and just like hoping that gets there. It probably will. Probably will get there, but still. Oh, I forgot to summon my friend. Oh, I can't summon my friend because I'm not a wizard, so this button doesn't even do anything on this. What else? I'm noticing that I ought to have a heal. Just to speed up. Paladins do technically get heals after all. Oh, it's on number 1. Okay. Well, I'll keep improved invisibility then. Nice. Alright, so we tried it in Channeler's stance, pretty good. We'll try defensive stance now, see if that updates anything. Yeah, King DDD. Exactly. EQL is a little more on rails. They're not Burger King, okay? It's not have it your own way. It's not play your way. It's do what they want you to do for the most part. It's a little on rails. That being said, it is a fun rail system. You just can't ask for you can't do certain stuff. They don't like that. Like, be a pet class and the pet tanks for you. Can't do that. Be a proc build with Beast Lord, you know, Bloodlust and some other shit, right? Can't do that. White damage build, you know, triple melee. Unless you're in a party. So it is a little on rails, but they let you do some fun ass stuff. I think I'm just gonna have to cast EDD, even in a 1v1 situation here. We don't have the wizard nukes to actually like kill something one-on-one. It's all AoE all the time, even if there's one guy. That's fine though. I'm living pretty successfully. I'm successfully not dying. I did have to use lay on hands there, so defensive stance confirmed worse than channeler stance. Also, there's one guy here. So I guess we're Of course, I guess we're using 800 mana spells to kill this one man. All right, surely this will. I can swing my sword to finish him off. Bink. There we go. All right, big recovery. A lot of stuff can see invis here, so it's not like super safe. Wonder if I can sneak past that guy. Go up into the nor'wester corner and chill for a while. Downside to the build, besides no single target, is lay on hands. You actually have to wait out the full cooldown. We're not casting smite. We're not like meleeing. So you have an oh shit button that saves you from a bad pull once every 15 minutes full. And not once every like 3 minutes or some shit if you're in the Berserker combo. Mr. Woe, did you ever play Final Fantasy XI? Yes, I did. It was very brief. I played it on PC with my friend who was playing it on PS2, which at the time was revolutionary cross-platform gaming. And it was kind of fun. I played it for maybe 2 weeks or something. It was not a long time. Not a big fan? Well, to me at the time, I'm like, oh, this is EverQuest with a Final Fantasy skin over it. Very EverQuestian MMO. And I liked EverQuest, but by the time 11 came out, I was already playing WoW. And WoW was just like way better. And so my brief dip was in fact a brief dip. Went right back to TBC or whatever fucking thing came out at that time. Not to say it was bad, it was just it came in an era where I'm like, yeah, I played EverQuest, that was awesome, it's very much like that, but I'm in WoW now, and WoW is just better at the time. Ahem. What does EQ want you to do? What are the blessed combos, and what do you think works the best for people just getting in? So what EverQuest Legends wants you to do is in between your 6 jobs, 4 wives, 25 children. It wants you to log in with any combo you want that features 1 tank, 1 healer, and 1 DPS, and solo the nostalgia of EverQuest from 1 to 50. To your heart's content, with some custom zones with overpowered loot in there as you level up. And then once you get to 50, try to kill a raid boss, he shits on you. And then either join a group every week that's just spamming in general to kill raid bosses, or re-roll and do the whole thing over again. Step 1 foot into Plane of Sky, pull your hair out and leave and never return. Enter the store and purchase a new primary class. And then just like casually level stuff and have a grand old time. Don't worry about the meta, don't worry about whatever. You are a tank class, a healer class, and a DPS class. You are a 3-person box as 1 person. And just do stuff. That's what they want you to do. And it's very good for that. If you want to make what is known as a build, you know, they want you to make it. If you want to make like a build where you're like, ooh, I'm going to be a pet build, where my pet tanks for me and it's over, but you can't do that. Well, I'm going to make a proc build where I choose Wizard for the double procs, and I choose, Beast Lord for Bloodlust to make everything proc up. Can't do that. Some of the builds kind of work, though. Like Giga AoE DDD blasting. Wizard Stonks. John EverQuest, aka Paladin Enchanter Shaman, or something like that, where you just have every ability. You have 500 spells and abilities that are all like letting you cheat at the game in various ways, and your DPS is kind of low, but you have an answer to every problem. And charm, and full heal, and slows for bosses, just everything, and you're like, alright, I'm a Swiss Army man. I'm just doing it. And that's fun too. DPS a bit low though, but that's the cost of utility. Hello? Scarelings, dude. Yeah, we're channeling. Actually just better than defensive stance, it seems. But I would say that because I'm extremely geared towards having 1 billion mana, which is the whole point of the stance. Well, he's not supposed to win, that's the fucking point. Going back to WoW Classico, after doing THJ, it's pretty wild how WoW really just was EverQuest with old Blizzard magic sprinkled on. Yeah, it's all those guys played EverQuest. Fires of Heaven, Tiggle, Biddies, Führer, all those guys. They played the shit out of EverQuest. And then they're like, we could make EverQuest except get rid of basically all of the time-consuming quality of life problems and put what is known as an art style over it. And that's what they did. It fucking blew up and it was great. Also, gameplay. Instead of being more of a simulation kind of game, which EverQuest is, it's more of a hands-on kind of game, which was at the time revolutionary. Because before World of Warcraft, there wasn't an MMO that had gameplay yet. It was too early for that. People were enamored by the chat room and the simulation style. They're like, what if we had an MMO with gameplay? And 100 times the quality of life of an EQ, but based on all the same mechanics. Yep, worked very well. And level Wizard and Druid to 25. Gotta do that, it's true. For all those portals. Not gonna lie, the art style and gameplay were pretty revolutionary. Yeah, they were. Yeah, I'm not talking down about World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft Classic, like vanilla, best MMO that has ever been made. I don't say it as a criticism, I say it as a reality. That's what they did. But they succeeded super hard, and it was great. Can I dodge this wrench? No. Alright. Rooted. So we'll kill this Shiverback and then get Alarmon back. Bink. Costs 0 endurance. Alright. Nice. Oh yeah, and I guess we can heal up in the interim as well. It's like a good playstyle because you go and you kill 5 or 8 things, and then you get to read chat for half a minute. That's a nice loop. Not gonna lie, the art style, jokes on them. In 2026, you have returned to polygons. Yeah, nostalgia. The Siren Song. The Wheel of Time. What they don't want you to do is quests, because they just aren't worth it for the most part, compared to a level 10 to 20 dungeon that has almost Plane of Sky gear. You know. Because they're extremely poor dev design game mechanics. Look, not all of them are extremely poor. You might remember when this thing was announced, and I'm like, oh, the Project Quorum guys are working on it. Okay, so lesser developers for sure than the THJ people, but better than the Daybreak ones. So we're going to have, like, a flawed but great game, and that's what we have. We're just lunging and questing, Ortorius. They put this stance system on top of the entirety of EverQuest, and I don't like that. It strikes me as a bit of a lazy design, to be honest. Giant band-aid instead of going in and really just tweaking the numbers on everything. They slapped a giant duct tape over it and called stances, which makes a lot of the gameplay is like stance dancing, and stance dancing is just not at all, and never was, an EverQuest mechanic. So it's just different, and I don't like that. It also produces, like, obvious problems, such as, oh, I'm trying to be a melee character, right? Here's my build. Well, I could add a second melee character after the first one, but it doesn't really add anything. You know, if I add a rogue to, like, I already have let's say I have a berserker in my loadout. Well, I want to add more melee damage, so I add a rogue. Well, the rogue isn't, like, what is the rogue adding? Backstab. Poisons that get resisted a lot. It's kind of it. Like, you aren't adding a lot of melee power. I probably chose a poor example because adding dual wield is actually good. We'll say if you have a rogue and you're adding a ranger or something, it doesn't add, like, a lot, because so much of the power of melee is because of the stance. It's not in the class, it's in the stance. And so that creates a lot of issues in loadouts, and it's also, you'd think it'd be easier to balance because you have these giant swatches over everything of stances, but it actually makes it harder to balance. Because if Channeler stance is too good, you could change Channeler stance, then it would just affect all the casters, you know. When you have something that affects everything, when you change it, it affects everything. Oh, Berserker stance is the one thing that kind of doesn't apply here because it's just for Berserkers. It is the only class that gets that stance. But it's also the main problem with Berserkers. If you're not in Berserker stance, the whole class doesn't do anything. That's awkward, you know. So there's issues with that. They were trying to replace the discipline system, and the discipline system was dog shit, and so I'm not a giant apologist, right? Don't get the wrong idea. Hey, come defend freedom. Oh, is it Helldiver night? I'm gonna poll like a million guys. Might die. May die. Got stunned. Might die. Easy game. I can't believe they let adults play this game. It's for children. Eagle-eyed viewers will note that I definitely used Lay on Hands there. But I wouldn't have had to if that one stun didn't land on me, so there's that. This is in D4, by the way, in Plane of Fear. This is the power of Bard AoE. It's pretty good. Seems like everything in EQL scales linearly and nothing combos in a satisfying way. Stance is a big multiplier. And then leveling gear and spells make the numbers go up. Like the stance system was a hack to not have to redesign everything. Yeah, and I think, yeah, that's right. That's my complaint with it. Now, maybe it was not feasible to go in and retool everything. There's a lot of shit in EverQuest, even vanilla. So I get that. I just wish it was done in a way that didn't cause stance dancing to be part of the gameplay, because I don't feel that that's EverQuest. Stance dancing. It's some other game does that, you know. Also, we have had 26 years of EQMU private servers that have tread this ground before. The whole trying to get you to solo and going in and tweaking everything. We got a quarter century of people having already looked at these problems and tried to solve them, right? So you could use that as a resource. Combiners. Carmine Robe. Man, this Nautilus shield is hella worse than the Paladin one. And Imbrued, which I probably never want. It's got 40 AC, though. I could just give it to the pet. Which is... no, it should have a haste. It should have a haste item. Destroy these. Destroy that. Nautilus shield +4 for warriors, 28 AC, 9 strength, stam, dex. Or the Paladin shield +4, 50 AC, 28 strength and stam. Yeesh. Warrior sells malding that knight equipment is better, except for a lot of the armor pieces, to be honest. Warrior's armor pieces are better in most of the slots than the knight stuff, so there is that. It just hurts more when it's weapons and shields. And we're back to full. Questing, anyway, back to Manzax. Questing is just like a fun little thing you get to do. They did not go back and change many of the quest rewards, but the ones they did are like awesome. So they want you to do questing for nostalgia purposes, basically only. And then as they add quests to the game, those are like quite worth doing. Toward Corruptor, the cat necklace, you know, stuff like that. And there are out-of-era quests that they have like re-added, even though they existed already. Like the, oh, I don't have one on hand here. I think I do. The thing we did yesterday, the froglock thing. Like those, they're new for vanilla, but they're not new because they're out of era. So as they move forward, more and more questing will be worth. And we haven't even gotten to the quest era of EverQuest. Because on release, EverQuest really didn't have a lot of quests in it. Kunark brings the epics. And that's when quest enjoyers will have, I mean, their cup will overfloweth. Even if they don't change them at all, and they probably are changing them, because they said they were, or at least they heavily implied they were. In some manner. Alright, big pull. I don't have lay on hands up, so might die. These amygdalin pulls seem scary because 7 guys harm touch you right away. But then things get more under control because all their harm touches are on cooldown. But like, it seems like I'm going to get my ass blasted because I'm set to 50% life instantly because 4 amygdalins and 6 pets all harm touch me, but after that it becomes a lot more manageable. Carmine, alright, Indocricide. Ding, ding, ding. Up to 7 for the Warrior one, up to 5 for the Shadow Knight one, and up to 6 for the Wizard one. Not bad. Having access to Paladin for heals out of combat is actually kind of nice for regen versus the Wizard version. It's sad. I rolled this originally. The whole point of this, I was following beta, and I'm like, it seems like they're letting you do DDD. They're letting you do it. Now they capped its targets to 5, and they made sure when you level it up and do some other stuff, like nothing affects the cost of it. It's always 800, unless you use Arcane Mastery Stance. And so it seems like they looked at it and they made changes. So the implication there to me is that it's fine. It's fine to be this good. And then they went a week without changing it, another week without changing it. They went through the entirety of beta without nerfing it. So it seems like DDD is okay. So anyway, if they're going to let me do DDD, I'm going to do it. But originally I rolled Wizard because I like being a wizard. I like blasting, ice comets and shit. And then I built the whole thing and I'm like, damn, the wizard is the worst part of this build. It's actually unnecessary. The only thing you lose when you drop wizard is 6% crit. Okay, I guess I'll choose a tank class that has a lay on hands ability then. Shit, dude. No, this is purely for like just AoEing. Obviously, wizard is quite good, single target. But that's what you have loadouts for. You wish tanking in FF14 was more involved. Yeah, I tanked in FF14 a little bit, and it was... I don't know. FF14 is just such a theme park MMO that I played it a little bit, then I came back and played it a little bit, and the friend group, is trying to play it again, but I mostly bounce off it. It's very theme parky, and the raid encounters are boring. Compared to WoW's, really. Like, WoW is, here's a puzzle to solve, and we'll give you a whole bunch of tools, and some of the tools we give you, we forgot that we gave you them. And so you come up with clever uses of game mechanics to defeat the bosses a lot of times in WoW. In Final Fantasy XIV, it's like, do exactly this. Stand exactly here. This is the tank buster. Do that. You just paint by numbers. You do the exact thing and then you win. This isn't a complaint about how easy it is. There are Final Fantasy XIV fights that are very difficult, and WoW ones that are very easy. It's just like I don't know. I like the Burger King. I like having it my own way. Devs came from those fan projects. Yeah, I know they did Project Quorum. Never played on that one. But I think Secrets did Classless, which I played in a long time ago. There were like 3 iterations of Classless. I'm not sure which one they did. But I played on those and they were very interesting and cool a million years ago. It's not designed for me. Yeah, I think they just didn't have enough time. Well, not they didn't have enough time. It was, all right, Daybreak is suing THJ, but they also realize that there's money to be made here. So how fast can we churn something out? That's why we have the stance system at all, is because it was the fastest solution to the problem. Again, though, quite fun. All the negatives notwithstanding, quite fun. Quite fun anyway. It's just a good formula. 3 classes in one, however you do it, almost. That's just fun for me. We'll pull this group over here, I guess. Might get tossed around. All right, stunned finally by a spell. One other guy up here. No. Read the map wrong. All right, Glare Lord, those guys are sometimes a problem. I'm only going to pull 2 because I'm low on mana. I'm just cleaning out this local area here. Might run out of mana. And now we attack. Heal twice. Offensive stance, go. Let's go. Let's see that single target. Oh, he's doing it. We're winning. We're winning the long game. Did I turn in on all my combat abilities? Bash. I got a kick in there somewhere. Yeah, let's turn kick on. We're doing it. Smite? No, not you. Not this time. Oh, that hurt. That hurt a lot. The pain. Big spell. Big spell went off. Good horse fights. Got him. All right. Easy, easy. As you can see, it looks very impressive fighting AoE. But it is a touch single-minded. All right. Now we get all our stuff back. Is YouTube chat not showing up on stream? It is. It's just the way YouTube streams, Baby Seal, is that there's like an extreme delay. I'm talking several minutes. And so whenever you ask a question, you got to wait like 3 minutes for it to appear on my screen, which is annoying. But there it is. Uh-oh. Can I do this? I can do 3 of these. No, I can do 4. We're good. Huge. And now we just fight. He has healing too, huh? Okay. The old 1v1er. And also it doesn't show on the Twitch chat stream because that is a rule of Twitch. Can't show YouTube chat on their screen. That's one of their rules. And we follow the rules. Or attempt to. Yeah, it seems like Kunark Velios era where we see if the devs can cook up the sauce. Kind of looking forward to that. All right, hopefully this one will kill him. It will. Easy, okay. All right, now for real, let me get my shit back. That's a weird rule. The rule specifically is there's a giant paragraph because I actually read the, most people don't, most streamers don't, but I actually read the legalese. And it was the experience for a Twitch viewer contractually must be better than the experience for a YouTube viewer. That's like the heading of their paragraph, and then they explain what they mean by that. And as you're watching it, as you're watching the stream, there's some clause about like, it can't be visually apparent that you are streaming to multiple sources, i.e. putting YouTube chat on the screen. That was one of the little bullet points for them. And I'm a partner, so we gotta follow the little rules. Even though I'm not big enough for like Twitch cops to show up and watch or anything like that, but you know. Can you elaborate on why Lorwyn Eclipsed should have been a block set? Yeah, I'm catching up on some old chat here because I had to fight a few times. You mentioned that in a prior stream. Sorry if you answered already. No, it's fine. Lorwyn Eclipsed should have been a block set because it felt condensed. The number of mechanics and cycles and sort of callbacks in there were just kind of all over the place. It didn't have room to breathe. I know I'm using vague language, but there was like one cycle of evokers with double mana. And then there was the chroma thing that cared about the number of colors you have of permanence when something enters or matters. It felt like they had all these ideas, but they only had one single block of 200 cards to put them in. I would have liked to see it expanded, get a little deeper into all of them, have a little storyline where the first part of the story happens in the first set and then the second part happens in the second one. They had all those flip people, you know. It was just busy and shallow. And I saw a lot of missed opportunities, and I would have liked to see it have room to breathe. Was my opinion on Lorwyn. Now maybe I say that because I really liked the original Morningtide Shadowmoor. The cards in which all kind of... The set didn't sell well, actually, which is part of the reason why they held off on returning to the plane for so long. But so many Commander All-Stars were from Shadowmoor, specifically. Just so happens to be. You know, it came up with the evoke mechanic. That was so cool. Like, yeah, okay, it also had Clash. It's not the greatest mechanic ever. So I'm not saying it was solid gold, but and Wither, which later became Infect, which later became poisonous or toxic. Both of which are coward mechanics. Because Infect was too good. Is that a Lorwyn Eclipsed issue or a modern Magic design? Well, it's obviously modern Magic design, but they created Lorwyn Eclipse, so it then became Lorwyn Eclipsed's problem. Yeah, it's the bad way that they make modern MTG design nowadays. It's bad. It's not good. It's worse. Hurts everything except the bottom line, as they say. Like, no one's complaining that Outlaws of Thunder Junction wasn't a 3-set block, you know? Because it's like, how many more characters could you put hats on? But they are complaining with Lorwyn because it feels like there was more there that could have been. They should simply make Magic in a good way. Yeah, I like to give that feedback because it's funny to give that type of feedback because it's so infuriating as a developer. Like, as a person who makes a game or writes rules for a game or whatever, when a player rolls up currently chewing on a Hot Pocket and Doritos, like, audibly into the mic, and they're like, why don't you just make the game good? Like, just make it fun. Like, why don't you just choose to make a good game instead of choosing to make a bad game? Like, if you want to piss off a dev. That's the feedback you give them. Like, I don't understand why they didn't just make the game good and fun. Why did they choose not to? Are they stupid? It's awesome. And they're like, it's all they can do not to reach through the screen to strangle you, you know? But never forget, also, they kind of deserve it. It is both. It's the worst sort of feedback ever, and it is understandably infuriating. But also, they kind of deserve it, too. It's both. I'm an arbiter over here. Any plans to get the new ogre stuff? Yeah, I just don't have a dedicated painting area right now after having moved into the new place. If I did, I would already own the ogres. I'll pick them up after next month's big paycheck. I've been doing a lot of editing work because it is the season for a lot of the type of editing work that I do. And so I'll get some fat paychecks from that on a mega delay, always late. Always late with the paychecks when you're doing official work. And then we'll get some ogres, paint them up. Fun, bounced, and good are such poison words. Yeah, and it's not been helped by, you know how on Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever, a certain type of person learned therapy words, and now that they have learned therapy words, they exclusively use them to be the most toxic bullies in the world, right? The Yelp reviewers of humanity. So in that respect, it's kind of like players saying things like, this is bad design. Like just that phrase, right? They heard this somewhere. They heard this phrase, and it makes sense like at face level. And they'll just say it. And it may or may not be true. But what they mean is, this isn't fun. It might not even be bad design. It depends, because they don't know what they're talking about. So I will go to bat for devs a lot. But a lot of times devs make it real hard to go to bat for them. It's not just CEOs in suits forcing them to make terrible choices. A lot of times, it's just like they're just really bad at their job. That is also a thing that can happen. I'm not talking about this game at all, by the way. But a lot of times it really isn't the scapegoat of the CEO capitalist guy in a suit forcing them to make such and such change. It's just like, no, they are enthusiastically making an awful game. So, you know. I know you're getting red. What else are you planning on buying for the ogres? I'm basically buying kind of like 2 of everything that could be useful in the future and that I like the look of. You know, I'm filling up a shelf with them and we'll see what happens. So I won't be buying the little mini-me guys. The tiny butchers, don't like them. I will be buying the hunters. I will be buying the iron jaws or iron guts. I'll be getting the Gluttons, Red, Rhino, probably another Rhino. There's kind of 2 of everything that looks cool. For the most part. And then I'll be immune to the Wheel of Balance, because I'll have 2 of everything, and whatever is good, I'll just play it. Mostly because they look like they would be fun to paint. And so that kind of strategy is fine. If you're getting it for more than just playing. I forgot to put up movement speed, so we just kill these guys and get to max mana again. Start over. New Vince game, pretty good. TY for the video. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I liked working on it. It was fun. It's just a fun little game, you know? Not everything has to change the world. It's just a fun little game. And I liked the ideas and the design behind it. Being a true arbiter of truth is saying fuck the fans and fuck the devs. Look, everybody says fuck the rich, but do you have the strength of character to say fuck the poor? HeyWoah the orc player, yeah. I am enthusiastically shitting on the thing you love right now. Why are you not buying my game? Yeah. We're going in a way different direction for this one. What do you mean you don't like it? It's not for you anyway. Actually, it was never for you. Bink. 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 There we go. Powerful melee paladin. Behold his power. The melee maxer. The chuds have ruined our game by not purchasing it, yeah. It's also fun because as you get older, you notice the cycles. You notice the cycle of life. Like Bayonetta comes out. This is misogynistic trash for chuds. And a few years later. Actually, this is for the girlies. Actually, this has always been for us. It's pretty high concept to make a set that's for nobody. Yeah, well, look, it's nobody current, but it's for new people. It's the mythical new player. You got to get those. So it makes sense to try. What is your favorite class, dungeon, and raid in WoW? You talk EQ, but you know nothing about it other than your parasocial ogre friend likes it. Favorite class in WoW? Depends on the era, I guess. I keep going back to warrior. Yeah, nowadays I typically play a warrior. In original vanilla I played a warrior tank and a rogue. Returning to, in private servers and stuff, I would play warlocks. Because I thought it was funny that you could sacrifice your pet to do more damage. and a bit of humility, because Warlock is just like a mage except worse in every way. And sometimes you gotta play the underdog on purpose. Mage is the first hero class of WoW, as everyone knows. Right from the get-go, OP. But yeah, typically I like to play Fury Warriors. And I used to like tanking, but not anymore. I no longer like to tank. As soon as Mythic Plus came out, and it became just about the whole game, is just doing Mythic Plus, that's the game now, for the most part. For some reason, I no longer liked tanking anymore. Could have been anything. Favorite dungeon? Undead Stratholme, no question. Undead Strat, awesome. Awesome dungeon. I could do that dungeon forever. Loved it. BRD was also very cool just because of all of the alternative ways to do so many different things there. Being a rogue and stealthing in and pickpocketing everyone in the arena, or working on the that giant fire resist jewel you could get, going and opening the vaults. You had warriors and stuff farming the gladiator pit for the hunter chest plate with crit on it. You had people farming HOJ. Being a warlock and scooting past stuff, and mind controlling elementals to fight each other so that you could solo Incendius for Ace of Elements and fire resist wrists. Like, there's just so many. And you could also just do the dungeon and go all the way through it and try to get an iron foe or something from the last guy after that annoying room. Like, it was like a real dungeon. They stopped doing that eventually because nobody likes real dungeons. They like hallways with a boss at the end that are very fast, and then you just leave. That's what people like. And it is got a certain snappy quality to just going in, running down a hallway, turning left, fighting 3 bosses, and fucking off. Like, I get that. But I did, and it's probably just, you can't do that anymore. It was a different time, but I liked when dungeons were dungeons. Like, they tried to build a city, because really it's a Dark Iron city. These decrepit warders have tons of resistances and way more hit points than anything else. Sort of like the spite golems of fear. And so you end up pulling one, you're gonna waste all your mana. But it must be done. And now we fight. We have a one-on-one. There we go. Favorite raid, though? So I talked about class, I talked about dungeon. What's my favorite raid? Probably Blackwing Lair. There's one giant, annoying, slow trash section, which has your rogues do something interesting for once. And aside from that, there's like 3 trash pulls, and then it's just a boss gauntlet of 7 bosses. You just walk into a room, boss. Walk into a room, boss. Great. Love to see it. The more trash in a raid, the worse the raid is. That's it. It's just a line. It's the line graph. Throne of Thunder was pretty cool. Warrior Rattle Lich King tanking, dude, that was so good. Warrior changed a lot in Wrath, and it was cool. So mobile, just zipping all over the place, solving problems. Halls of Reflection, yeah, favorite WoW thing. Would a fully soloable WoW Classico be cool or whack? I mean, that's what WoW is, though. Kinda. I guess you would have it at the end. It's pretty close to that already. I don't know, it could be cool. I'm fascinated by what developers do to try to let you solo in their games that were overtly designed from the ground up to interact with other players. It's interesting to me to see the game design decisions. And so it's like a hobby of mine over 20 years of playing in basically every EQMU. Amateur game dev wants to make a solo server who lives above a bowling alley and below a Korean noodle shop, and he just comes up with solutions to problems and just tries. And they don't always hit, but it's interesting to see what they do. And when I say solo server, I mean actual solo server. I don't mean six boxing. Boxing is a miserable experience. It's just not fun for me. And so if I'm cruising servers and it's like, okay, it's time to do another solo P server for EQ. If it's like a boxing allowed, or it just talks about boxing, I'm like, okay, I can just skip this one because I know what'll happen. You can solo for a while and then you get to the end game and you have to box at that point. And I'll just save time and not even do it at all then. If you can't do the end game stuff solo, then you are not a solo server. You're just a server where you can level up alone. That's it. And so I just steer clear of those completely. I'll fight this thing, how about? And it's also the way that people think. Like whatever the hardest content is, if you can't do it without doing X, then that actually it kills everything. It changes the game. The game is about that now. Even if 99% of the game is about Y, if the hardest stuff you can only do doing X, then it's an X game now. And I'm not saying it's necessarily right, but it is the way players think. And they're more right than wrong on that one. If you have to group to do D4, then it's not a solo server. It's a grouping server. And you just get to the end game however you want. You can solo that. Right? Is there a way to check your ping? Yeah. I think there's an option somewhere to like show it on the screen maybe. I couldn't tell you where. Yeah, there's something somewhere where you can click a button and be like, show your FPS and ping on the screen or something, but I don't know where it is, and I probably take too long looking for it. Anyway, that's a very interesting question, Puppy Wubbles. Would a fully soloable WoW Classic be cool or whack? No, you didn't say could it, you said would it. It would probably be whack. It wouldn't have to be, but it probably would be. And it's closing in on what it already is. It's a very solo-friendly game. They're introducing more and more solo stuff to do at the end game as well, as time moves on, because it's what the players want, and, you know, the rule. Oh, rooted. All right. No big pulls today. Gorgon stunned. These Gorgon's stuns last a long time, too, so I might just die from full life here. Nope, we're good. Did the Looney Tunes ask Spelunk noise? Okay, so good. Druid is your forever goat. Druid has had a hard life. If we ever get to the end of time and no more fantasy games are ever being made, the eulogy for the Druid class will be so sad. It'll start with something like, Druid had a hard life. There's the inherent problems you run into when trying to make a hybrid class like a Druid in almost anything. Mr. Bad at everything. It almost doesn't matter what game you choose because it's the concept. Like, it turns out that being a specialist in a game where you assemble a party is straight better almost always than being a hybrid. And when you tell a hybrid, like, well, you can do this and do that, and it's, oh, cool, so I'm the best at not doing my job. And it's a tricky one. Druid in classic WoW was almost useless, just a terrible class. What are you here for? Mark of the Wild and Combat Res. Anything else? Not really. No. We could replace you with anyone else that heals. Oh, shit. But I suppose that's like that for a lot of classes in WoW. Classic. EverQuest is no different. In fact, that's where they took the idea for druids to be bad at a bunch of stuff, but not good at actually anything. That's where WoW took that idea from, because in EverQuest, druid can do a lot of stuff poorly, but it all comes together into a package that is less than the sum of its parts. That's a rough one, kid. Yeah, there is an asterisk next to that. Puppy Wubbles brings it up. Druid was actually kind of goated in PvP. Both group PvP as flag runners and stuff, and in 1v1 duels. And arena. You can't mana burn a rage bar. Yeah, druids did shine in PvP actually, so there was that. If this Gorgon stuns me at the wrong time, I will die here. But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Ooh, I did get rooted. That's okay. Burned a safety lay on hands, but that's fine. I'm due for a rebuff in any case. I think they talked about the hybrid tax as a design principle in a while, at least into Wrath of the Lich King. Yeah. And it kind of doesn't fly, I don't think. It does for like the soloing experience, but as soon as you join a group, and even more so as you join a raid, like the more specific your job that you are being hired to perform is, and that's what joining a raid and a group are, the more specific and specialized your role, the more the hybrid tax just means you're bad. Like, okay, we have room for one more DPS. Well, I can become a cat and do some DPS. Oh, is your DPS good? No, because technically I could be tanking even though I'm not. And I could also heal even though I'm not. So my DPS is bad. Oh, well, we're looking for a DPS, so I guess eat shit for life. And then the druid player's like, damn, I'm being punished for the job that I'm not doing. And that doesn't make much sense from their perspective, right? But then the flip side of the coin, fairness-wise, is you have some rogue and he's like, the only thing I can do is damage. I can't do anything else even if I wanted to. So how come this druid, who could tank and could heal, is out DPSing me? That's not fair. Because I can't even do any of that stuff, right? And the rogue isn't entirely wrong either. So you have two people that aren't entirely wrong, feeling ways. And you've got to figure out a solution to it. And this is why a lot of times it's very hard to be a game dev. What do you do? Well, I know what you do, but it kind of depends. What you do is you tell the rogue, you should do better DPS than that druid if you're outgearing him, or better than him. If the opposite is true, then he's going to outdamage you. The fact that he could tank is irrelevant. You are a rogue. You chose rogue because you don't want to heal anyway, so don't pretend like that matters when you're comparing yourself to a druid. Because you don't want to heal. And you chose rogue just so people would not ask you to heal, so fuck off. Kindly. And you look at what actually matters in the game, which is end game, and you make choices based on that. It was in the context of them defending it in All War 25. Players are mad because you wanted to raid as a hybrid. You were de facto a healer unless you were the one Shadow Priest to beat the mana gem, yeah. And that one Shadow Priest, by the way, was having the time of their lives. Because it was technically possible to be a Shadow Priest that no one wanted for years. And then finally, it was your time. But even when it was your time, hard limit won in the entire guild. 66% of all disciplined priests were mad because they weren't chosen to be the one shadow. Oh, the Stone Cold Stunner. You got me. This is a powerful spider. It was a good fight. Giga Spodor. You turning on Auto Bash has changed how much enjoyment you're having in EQL. Hell yeah. Dude, Auto Bash is sick. Bash is actually quite good. Kick is okay. But Bash and Auto Bash and Improved Bash are very good. Smite is not. I'll talk about that later. If if anyone gives a shit. But Smite is trash. Even Reeve is better. Which might shock some people. Hey, I'm gonna go AFK a moment. I gotta re-up on this Kohi. And I'm gonna do it in a safe way. Leave instance, but not leave the raid. No, it's just gonna put me in the normal zone. I'm gonna stand here, and I'm probably gonna die while AFK. But that'll be something you guys get to watch in the meantime. BRB 2 minutes. Poof. I'm back. Big re-up. You type chatters in Twitch, block the message? Why? Why would it do that? Is that like a mod? One of those Twitch Chat 7 mods or something that shows a image that's not okay, maybe? I don't know. Alternative emote. Anyway, we back. Second Shadow Priest in every guild was painting tunnel entrances on walls, trying Looney Tunes their way to #1. Secretly hoping that guy stops showing up. A million pets. Oh, rooted. Uh-oh. This is bad. You have to position yourself very carefully. Because Denon's has a very tiny radius. And so if you're rooted in between a bunch of other guys, might die here. Will die here. It's okay. You killed all but one, not bad. Anyway, if you get positioned between a bunch of other guys, you only hit half of them or sometimes even a third of them and you'll just end up dying, which is an issue. For instance, that pull. I still killed almost all but the one with the most health, but spent too much time not hitting all of them. And Lay on Hands was down for another like 10 seconds or something like that. Luckily in EverQuest Legends, there's 0 penalty for dying pretty much at all. And in fact, often it's even a good thing. And so it just doesn't matter. You can respawn right in the same zone. You don't have to do a corpse run. You don't lose XP. And quick buff every 10 minutes. In fact, it resets some of your cooldowns, and so taking deaths on purpose is a way to both be transported from one part of the zone to another that you might want to skip walking, and it refreshes some of your cooldowns. Don't sweat the small stuff. Ping and FPS are default F11. Turns out the repository of all human knowledge had the answer. Yeah, Google. Let's see. Network performance meter is F11. Oh, there it is. It's being covered by something. I have a 62 millisecond ping, and my FPS is 150, which I imagine is the cap. So for anyone who really wanted to know that, there you have it. 62, not bad. For being in a Midwestern state, and the servers are on one of the coasts. Or something. Yo, he's got the crip walk. Sometimes the character animation bugs out. It's funniest on ogres, obviously. But the run animation bugging out is very humorous to me. Servers are in Vegas. Oh, shit. Okay. Surprising. Well, never mind. Then it's just a little southwest. Little Sam Hain. Oh, the root. You fuck. Being different than a bunch of other private servers, I was shocked that there wasn't AA to become immune to roots, because it's like a staple. It's just something they always have on private servers, and I was surprised that we didn't get one here. Same with stun. There's no stun immunity. AA. Shocking. There's a immunity to physical stuns like the ogre, but not casted ones, which is wild. And there's no root immunity, which means you are constantly annoyed. And doing D4 Plane of Fear raid, Kazakh Thule and all his ads, means when you pull one of the little ad groups, sometimes you're just stunned from being at 100% life to being at 0% life. Just for the entire time. And the one moment you break out, whatever you're trying to cast is interrupted by getting pushback. But, you know, from a dev point of view, let me do some special pleading, I guess. Sometimes, especially in games where they let you be overpowered, the only way to actually kill the character ever is by loss of control effects or one-shots. And so you have three choices. You have a baby game for children that offers no danger ever at all and is hence boring with no stakes. Or you have a game where you only die to loss of control effects and are frustrated and annoyed all the time. Or you have a game where you only die to one-shots, which means everyone gears for the most ludicrous glass cannons ever to try to one-shot the other stuff, and that's just how people build. Which is the most exciting, but it can be a little bit of a hollow experience. And those are your kind of your three which way modern dev directions to walk. You're on ping 181 currently. Okay. How far away? I guess necessarily kind of far away from the server then. Not terribly far, but closing in on 200 ping would be sometimes an issue in a more snappy game like World of Warcraft or Mythic Plus 20 key or Mythic rating or something like that, or PvP. But for a game like this, it's, you know, you're largely kind of making decisions. And quick reflexes and stuff are not super important. It's a different kind of difficulty. It's game knowledge and how much time you want to spend. You rewarded a lot for game knowledge and a lot for time spent, which is reasonable. It's kind of like the name of the game for an MMO. If it didn't reward you for the time spent, sort of, kind of, what are you doing? That's the game. That's the game you're making. Or that's what an MMO is. He who has the least life wins. The only way to beat him is by having more friends than him. Northern Ireland. Yeah, far enough. You mentioned Belfast that one time. Fucking Sentia. Yeah, I know a place or two. Traductus, have you done your dragons today? No. I don't do them a lot. Because the only thing that drops that I would want from them is the bags. However, I do want the bags. So we can go do those if we want. I think it's been 12 hours. I still got to fill up my whole bank with dragon bags after all. So something I got to take care of. I'm just prioritizing Plane of Sky, Inaruk, those two. Because the loot those drop is more valuable to me. And Finnegas Atravol for a while until I realized that Blue Crystal Staff is not in the game. And I was lucky to see that after only doing it 8 times. I didn't waste more time. Does the no corpse runs and not losing XP take anything away from the game? Yes. For sure. It changes the game drastically. And this isn't, I'm not going to full boomer you. I'm going to give all angles. And so my first concession is, the first thing it does is mean 10 times more people play the game than don't. Possibly even 100 times. I'm not making these numbers up. Because there's no corpse running. Number 1, no corpse runs. Number 2, no XP loss. Number 3, leveling is like 100 times faster than real EQ. Those 3 things, you do lose something, but what you gain is 2 orders of magnitude more people want to play your game. And don't ever forget it, right? So there is that. Yeah, we're all boomers here, or at least Gen X. But like legitimate Gen X and not like a joke. Because that's the people who loaded up and saw 989 Studios in 1999 on their CRT monitor in their dad's basement or whatever. Or their basement at the time, as it happens. The world is less immersive, you're more detached from it, and you're more detached from the choices you are forced to make, and there's less friction, or not friction, but everything is a little less meaningful. You lean back from the screen philosophically more when the stakes are low. You're less invested in the moment. There's some world building there as well, and immersion breaking there. Yeah, I would say that EverQuest is pretty much split down the middle between older millennials and the youngest Gen X. It's like that era. So the things you lose from having all this amazing quality of life is your accomplishments are a little less meaningful. You have a little... You're not as invested, I guess. These are all intangibles. And overall, it's probably a better thing not to have them. So keep that in mind. But you do lose something. And also, what's the name for that? There's like a name for this thing I'm about to describe. And it is, you did something in the past, typically with other people. Or you're sharing an experience to someone else who also did this thing in the past that at the time was very time-consuming and miserable. But you sort of have this warm, fuzzy feeling about it. And you look back upon it fondly, despite it being miserable and time-consuming at the time. Like getting High Warlord, or Grand Marshal in WoW. Or boating down a river and having to like carry your boat across like a swamp with your buddies and then climb a minor hill and then get back in it, and everyone has sunburn and whatever. Like, I don't know what the term for that is. It's not nostalgia, or maybe it's under the umbrella of nostalgia, but I'm specifically talking about experiences that at the time were miserable. Like, they weren't good. You can be nostalgic for something that was good or bad, I guess. Copium? No. I don't know. We'll think of it at some point, but it's kind of like that, I guess. You're a millennial by 1 year. Dodge the bullet. Commiseration, maybe. Maybe Google can help. Maybe romanticizing, I guess, but it's not what I'm thinking of. Here, we should invent this word, because I think nostalgia and romanticizing and rose-tinted goggles and commiserate, all these words are swirling the drain around what I'm talking about. They're all close, but... Anyway, we tap this out. There's actually no monsters left. We're done. You want to be the wind beneath my wings and carry me to success with dragons later? Sure. I have to check my raid times here in Eggman's Lair. Three days, 20 hours. All right, I think I've exceeded the 12-hour thing, so I can do it again. I just get one piece of loot instead. I think that's how that works. Because I did them Tuesday, as one does, because that was the reset day. Let's make our own terminology. Yeah, we got to come up with the definition for it, too. I don't know why this other stuff didn't appear on my extended targets. That's weird. Anyway, Big Gator. I don't want to fight you right now. Can you fuck off? Become my pet. Get charmed. And then I'm gating, and you'll be left here for someone else to kill. Cleric Azaka in Buffon took you a solid 5 minutes to kill. Yeah, the healer mobs are a problem. Healer mobs will slow things down for you, and as you increase in difficulty, everything kind of accidentally becomes a healer. A lot of times on D4, you'll pull a group of 3, and it'll be like Warrior Cleric, Paladin Mage, Cleric Shaman. And you're just like, okay, so you 3 are just going to be healing each other for the next 5 minutes until you all run out of mana. A lot of EverQuest is like out-efficiencying your opponents until they run out of resources and then just dunking them. Holding their head beneath the waters of the swimming pool, and being like, run out of mana. You remember something with fondness, but like you know it sucked Omega balls at the time. Exact wording for the Oxford Dictionary. Yeah. It'd be like fondly recalling or wistfully recalling a time-consuming, miserable event. But you're older now and you have like this vague notion that it was worth it, or character building, or something. Such that if you were given the option, like a genie comes out of a bottle and he's like, hey, I can erase that. I can have that not have happened. You'd be like, no, it's fine. It's okay that that happened. Because that's one of the myriad of butterfly effects that led to where I am now. And I rather like where I am now. So let's not fuck with it. Add that to the definition. Manzak, are we killing Nagafen or what? What loadout am I using? I could do the full blaster or I could do the tank guy. Let's do the tank guy. I wonder if I can run someone through on D4. It might be too hard. When you group with other people, the monster, they just like multiply everything. They just take the numbers and fucking blast them. So like shit has absurd hit point scaling. It's not necessarily harder. I mean, it is harder because their resists go up, which is annoying, and their damage goes up a little bit and stuff like that. But really, they just have like a million more hit points. So if you're doing like 8-man raids, you just kind of sit there fighting a boss that has a million hit points and you're just fighting it. You're just sitting there forever. Which one use the banker? There you go. Okay. Lustrous. In Trilobite. There we go. Suit that up. Imbrued, which, yeah, got some there. Oh, nice, got it to +6. And the Nautilus shield. +7. Big. Appreciative retrospection on hardship. ARH. If we could get a G somehow at the end, ARG. In fighting games, there's the term kusoge, which is a Japanese Franken word that means shit game. Parenthetical fondly. Okay. Player Traductus was not found. Did I spell it wrong? This guy is like, hey, can you come kill D4 Nagafin for me? And I'm like, sure. And he logs off. He's in chat right now. Or he used to be. Damn, I got my little Shadow Knight guy all ready to tank. Turns out, just use multiple loadouts for different things you do in the game, which is the whole point. If I'm soloing raid bosses, I go Shadow Knight, Enchanter, Wizard. If I am AoE farming, I get Paladin, Bard, Enchanter. If I'm going to join a group, I get Enchanter, Bard, Wizard. And then the fourth one is just like the one where I cycle through different classes and just trying to level them all to 50. So just stuff. Kusoges are peak, not gonna lie. Let's see if I'm being lied to. Japanese slang term that translates literally to shitty game or crappy game, but in a good way. All right. Chatter was not lying. Well, I guess Manzak Miniatures meant later. Meant to do that later. Let's do Sky. Speaking of endgame stuff. Might as well do some Sky. Always got classes to unlock. One of the like final things you end up doing in this game is farming Plane of Sky forever for just a million weird class drops that, plus gems that you can turn into the Council of Ifritai. And if you do every class quest for a particular class, and there's like 4 to 6 of them per class. I don't think any class has 7. I know Paladin only has 4. Anyway, if you accomplish all of them per class, then it unlocks that as one of your primaries if you want. And in this way, you can unlock a primary without using the store. It takes forever. And it's all random. So they really, they really push you to the store on that one. However, you get one primary for free when you start your character, and you get a second primary for free when you get your first level 50. And 2 primary classes should probably be fine for almost everyone, as long as you don't pick a bad one. You gotta kind of think ahead a little bit, but it should be, for the most part, fine. Speaking of Sky, the new Helldivers update is fun. Yeah, I'm going to play it with SJ and CJ later. Like, almost played it twice, but just people had to go to bed and stuff, and I was busy until late. But maybe tonight, maybe over the weekend. Should be fun. Man, Helldivers is so much better than it should have been, but so much worse than it could be. What a duality. The thing that makes you appreciate about Kusoge is that you don't have any illusions that they aren't jank. You know what you're in for, and it's a selling point. It's actually piggybacking off of a really powerful psychological tool, or rather experience that humans can have. Your expectations of something and the situation that got you to experiencing it have so much impact on your enjoyment of that thing, regardless of its quality. Like one time I was hiking in the Grand Canyon, okay? All the way down, all the way up. On a summer day with nothing to drink. And by the time I came back up, I was dying of thirst. And there was a fucking vending machine where everything was sold out. Except some like awful, like a diet Mountain Dew, just some gross soda. But it was the best drink I've ever had in my fucking life at that moment. Right? And so in this way, and I'm talking about experiences, but expectations are experiences. You know, if I'm giving a Rift's rulebook to somebody and I'm like, this is the best game ever, go ahead and read the rules, they'll be like, I was expecting the best written rules ever, and I'm seeing a lot of exclamation points. This looks like a mutant AD&D 2nd edition, you know? But if you're like, this shit is so jank and autistic, and it sucks, but it's so good. Which is really just me being honest, but also it's preparing someone for it. And then suddenly they're like, this is the coolest, lamest, stupidest, best thing ever, you know? Modern games spend a lot of time trying not to be a shitty game and fall into the trap of caring about fun, balance, and good. I don't know. I don't think they're trying not to be a shitty game. I think they are adhering to the median rule. Like whatever the safest, we've looked into it a little bit, and we have made every mean, safest choice possible. Where just whatever the most generically default expectations are, we're going to hit those and nothing more. We're just going to walk on the trail that has been tread and do nothing new or interesting. And then what you've made is the most boring gray slop ever. It's not bad. It's just like, why am I here? Why do you want me to pay $100 for this? How come you have a cash shop? You know? And the way they start this process is by choosing Unreal Engine 5, which is that. That's it. That's the beginning of it. We're going to choose the engine that runs terribly, makes everything look bad, but everybody already knows how to program for it. I hope you like waiting for shaders to load. Every game looks the same. There's so many great memes about that too, like the yellow paint stuff and the... Oh, players are going to miss this. We better have the sidekick. Have the little annoying sidekick be like, ooh, I wonder if that lever can be pulled. Don't miss out on that lever. Oh, man, oh, but we can't reach the ladder. I wonder if that lever has anything to do with it. Have you tried the lever? Focus H. I'll run up ahead. Meet me up ahead. And then you hear them in the distance. Still waiting up ahead. It's to your north. Check your mini-map. Hey, don't forget about the store page. Oh, I feel something. It's got to have something to do with these runes. Oh, the runes are in the wrong order. Also, there's a lever. If only we could put the runes in the right order. Which is a fair choice to make from the point of view of somebody when 400 people's jobs are on the line for your decisions. Yeah, it has a mollifying effect on your risk, you know. God, what if we just make the safe choices? No need to reinvent the wheel. Like, this shit works. Just choose what works, you know. Anyway, let's do a little bit of Sky while we chat. I've been chatting too much. Well, I haven't been chatting too much. I've just been playing too little. There's a difference. Soldier's Bridge quest has been fixed. You can now choose your ward. Oh, big! Dude, I wonder if there's a wizard one. I wonder if there's an enchanter one. Oh, remind me to go do that after this Sky run. New Helldiver's Las rifle is unbelievably goated. CJ, I heard the armor speeds up your reload of shit by a lot. That's what I'm interested in that one. Also the funny bolt gun. The Boltar. Here, I marked your map. Bring it up with the M key. Whoops, that's the MTX button. Silly me. It's H. You didn't say it was a correct choice. No, yeah, I agree. It feels like it. It can feel like it. When you're put in charge of something, the walls start closing in. You actually have to care about a lot of stuff suddenly. The battle pass is right behind me, isn't it? Well, that just happened. Oh, man. Look, layoffs are sad, but millennial writing is so bad that, not real millennial writing, but the understanding of millennial writing. Some of these people ought to be laid off. Never forget, people in charge should be too. Alright, I'm going to grab a Thunder Spirit Charm Pet here. Because the next boss kind of shreds. And I want somebody else to get shredded. Who isn't me. Like this little spirit here. There you go, buddy. Hey, get torn up a little while. It's going to take 2 casts, even an overchannel, probably to land. No, it's not. Nice. Alright. Cool. Can't remember which one is the right resist to use for this guy. It's Rend? It's Rend, okay. Thunder Spirit at half-life, fighting the little Blade Storm back there. The Rend Resistor. Let's put the slow on Blade Storm, because I'm going to have to kill it eventually. Wow, it landed. Amazing. And we'll drop the pet right before the pet dies, so that we can finish off the pet and get XP and loot, just in case. Thank you for doing my bidding, and here is your reward. Oh, nice. Mode of Lesser Potential. Not bad. I'll take it. Joss Whedon, I thought you were dead. I was. Ten out of 10 Warbond, actually. Nice. I used my last victory bucks on it. Because whenever I stop playing Helldivers, I make sure to stop playing it with an extra 1,000 or so. Because inevitably the only reason you come back is for a Warbond. But this one was premium Warbond, 1,500 Chuck E. Cheese dollars. And I had like 1,520 or something, and so this one cashed me out. I have to actually play the game for a little while to earn more, which I will do, you know, this weekend with you guys. Got him. Wind Staff. Which one's the Wind Staff for? Is that Enchanter? It is Enchanter, and that's Rod of Protecting Winds, which is bad. But I'll take it anyway because I want to grab the proc out of it. Or not the proc, but the Warn Clicky out of it. Formative hardship, maybe. We're closing in on it, yeah. There might not be an singular word that encompasses all of it, but formative hardship is probably the closest to it. Funny how consistent writing is a problem at times when we have dime a dozen writers to choose from, relatively speaking. Yep. Don't look into it too much, though. You'll become a noticer. And that's illegal. Don't look into it. Alright, I've gotten everything I need from the Azarak Island. Also, I'm not the AoE build. I'm the single target build, so we're skipping that. I can't remember if I need anything from Gorgolusk, so we'll just do that. If this charm doesn't resist, it'll be a good fight. If it does, this will be a hard fight. It resisted. This will be a hard fight. Might die. Alright, interrupted. Try to mez. Interrupted, try to mez. Kind of worked. I will slow this guy. Slow resisted. Slow resist again. Harm touch to get life back. Drain spirit. Oh, I think I just have to try killing him. And I'll just sort of heal through it. Mez again. Keep these CC'd. And we'll just blast Gorgolusk, I guess. If I have to weave in some more drain souls, it's fine. Which I will do now. Stunned. This will be a long stun. By the time the stun is over, I'll need to remez. Still stunned. There we go. Alright, remez. Mez interrupted. Remez. You'd imagine doing Sky without Enchanter to be able to CC all this crap. Stunned again. New Crystalline Cloud showed up. I was trying to mez him, but I got stunned during it. Still stunned. Alright, mezzing. Interrupted, mezzing. Interrupted, mezzing. Interrupted. Get in the corner even if it pulls extra guys. Alright. Mez worked. Stunned again. How do you like the play-by-play? A lot's happening over here. Still stunned. There we go. Interrupted, drain spirit. Alright, now we're draining the full life, and I gotta remez when I'm done with that. Stunned again. After this stun, I gotta remez. But I'll be at very low life. Actually worked. That's great. We're just like draining. Oh, stunned again. I'm glad they changed the stun mechanics so that you can't get stun locked anymore. I can really feel it. Remez. Ooh, big stun and at very low life. Might die during the stun. Interrupted. Okay, got it off. Stunned again. This is not even one of the difficult islands, by the way. Dead. Okay. I love Sky. So if we look back at the beginning of the fight, when the charm got resisted twice, that was the moment we were dead. It just took a long time. Also, this is why people say to solo Sky you really want to have an enchanter. Because you're going to need to CC or charm a lot of stuff. Keep your eyes forward, citizen. Yeah. Well, that just happened. Riding became the median choice, so people in the business of making money choose it because it was proven and safe. Everything has a shelf life. Yep. The Meltagun is so fucking nice, though. I saw images of it, or video. Can't wait. My exes think I'm so memorable, they call me formative hardship. Hell yeah. Anti-tank support weapon that doesn't take 3 years or a backpack slot to do anything. Wait, Meltagun doesn't require a backpack slot? Oh, baby. Dude, anti-tank support weapon that doesn't take up a backpack slot or 3 years to reload. That's very interesting for loadouts. That's very interesting for some fun loadouts. That means I can take supply backpack. Fun allowed? Okay, it's possible that my 1v1 boss killing spec is not the one to do Sky in. Perhaps it really is just the Giga Blaster. I'll try that next. I haven't tried Sky on the Shadow Knight yet. Alright. We're back to this. Look, this time the charm will just land and then the boss will die easily. Trust. Trust the process. Nope. Resisted. Okay. Look, it's fine. We'll just slow that and slow this. I kind of don't want to AoE mez because the first time I AoE mez, it's going to pull something from outside. At least it's not super resistant to fire. That means we can damage it down. Alright, Crystalline Chud has showed up. Get all of them at least in front of me so I can block and parry. I think I try a mez now. It's time. Huge crit. That was good. Charm the Crystal Cloud. Have him attack his friend, and we're good. Oh, this one spawned as a 58. I don't think my allure is high enough to get a 58. I need to put more points into it. That's the issue. Only major downside of the Meltagun is it has video game shotgun range. Okay. So it's still worth sometimes taking recoilless rifle or other stuff so that you can just peek over a hill from 200 yards away and blow up a factory. I mean, that's just game balance stuff, right? Like, we're going to force you to play riskier to use the thing that's better. Sure. Fine balance. Gotta get close. Kotan call. Melta is supposed to have shotgun range, kinda. It's not a las cannon. Yeah, his complaint, I didn't detect that it was because of, like, unrealistic. It was just like, I wish it had longer range because it's a game and I want to shoot stuff from farther away because it's better. With also the understanding that fair enough. It's balance, right? I'm just happy the thing fucking melts stuff for real. It's always sad when you get a Meltagun in a video game and it just like sucks. So I'm just kind of pleased about that even. Where it's like, no, this thing slaps. Good. Alright, Keeper of the Souls. Huge. Don't pull him to this edge over here that I'm putting my mouse at, the left edge. It has a real high chance of pulling a Drake from a different island that puts you in the spin cycle and will CC you until you die. And they're immune to Meson Charm. So if you pull one, you're actually just dead unless you feign death. Or it decides to never use its ability that it basically spams normally. A lot of the island positioning is really like Dark Soulsian. You just have to know. You have to know not to pull stuff towards this particular edge and things like that. And the Plane of Sky can become a clusterfuck immediately. But look, you're going to be here for a while, so the game like forces you to learn all that. Bink. Also, you pull the Keeper of Souls horse the second you appear on the island, because there's a bug where sometimes if you wait forever to pull it and you start clearing elsewhere first, it will despawn and just disappear and you have to leave and come back. More stuff to just kind of learn and know. Small shield, don't need that. All these things I'm picking up are random like quest items for different classes, crafted gear. And which monsters can see through invis and which can't. That just happened. Reminds me a lot of Fantasy Slock copying Tolkien nearly unilaterally without much of his nuance, and then doing it again with GRM. Court of Thrones and Roses is a hilarious title. Yeah, but it's also like Tolkien wasn't necessarily an author. He was a linguist who was good at writing. And a lot of what Tolkien did, he kind of got away with because it was so good. If you have characters waxing poetic and speaking in somewhat of a pentameter, not really, not literally, but giving mythological speeches to each other in a sing-songy kind of way, like that shit just would not fly. You'd get laughed. You'd get laughed at. But it fucking worked for him because of his aura. And it really does work, you know? And the light is the good guys and the dark are the bad guys and they're the shadows, you know? And just all this stuff, it just worked. And a lot of the copies really didn't work. And it's the same thing with George Martin, you are right. Where he is an exceptionally good short story writer and an exceptionally good first-person narrator. And so he wrote really long books by cheating, by making every chapter a short story and doing them all in first person and showing maybe the ugly side of history a little bit. And it really worked. But if you don't really get why it worked and you're just like, I'm going to put rape everywhere in my grimdark fantasy, it really doesn't hit if you don't have it. I didn't want to have to phrase it like that, Alex, that he got away with it because of his aura. I didn't want to phrase it like that, but that's entirely correct. And so I had to. That time I got reincarnated in a court of thorns and roses. My little sister became the queen of a court of thorns and roses. Brand new manga. Let's go. Essence Harvester pulled itself through the wall, as one does. That's always a concern standing on this side of it. You really should stand on that side of it, but this one patrols back and forth, and you can kind of see its wing through the wall sometimes, and you should pay attention to that. And I didn't, and now this is happening. It's fine. All I need to do is like crit one time with a conflag, and he'll lose this fight. And I crit 2 times with conflag, and so he will be mega losing this fight. A lot of playing a wizard is fishing for 1 crit, and if you get 1 crit, you're good. Wizard gaming. Standard Warmaul spear. Nope, nope, nope. And now I don't want to actually have to fight this guy, because he turns into another guy, and then you have to fight that guy, and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to Blanket of Forgetfulness. And now I don't have to fight him. Enchanter OP. It gets the cheat of the game, you see. That's the cool part about Enchanter. Enchanter is like playing Tzeentch. You get the cheat at the game, it's just by the rules. So hey, alright. Now we get to Bee Island. No, it's not Bee Island yet. It's the Spearrock Island, which I farmed hella before, so I don't need that. I'm really mostly looking for drops off the last boss. Mostly. So we get to skip some of the more annoying islands. But also we're skipping some of the fun islands. Maybe I come back here on the Bard. And we blast some of the AoE islands. Have you watched Game Balance Isn't Real? No. But based on its title, I can probably see where it's going with that, and it's right. It's made by an actual developer experienced with games considered to be good. You really love the breakdown he had on game tuning. Game balance is the things the players will complain about the most, and if you do what they say, the game will end up bad. Like, that's the truth. That's the end of the road you're walking down. Is the thing that players complain about the most is balance, and if you take their advice, they will make themselves the worst game ever that no one wants to play. And it's about pretending to satisfy what they're saying while not really doing it, but doing it in a different way. And that's difficult. The video is by Keats. The poet? No, wait, that's Yeats. Never mind. Does Shaman, Paladin, Enchanter sound like an okay trio to run? Sounds like it doesn't have any damage. But that's not a huge problem. Because a lot of EverQuest is just outlasting your opponent until they die of old age. Paladin is going to give you the best, technically the best ratio weapons in the game. Either one-handed with Alden or Torrid Corruptor or something for a two-handed version. But you're not dual wielding, so your melee damage is pretty bad. Even with the best weapons ever, your melee damage is pretty bad. Shaman does give you Puma, which is the best proc, which will add a lot of damage, but not nearly as much as it did in beta. Enchanter adds charm damage, which is really, really strong in Plane of Sky, and much less strong in most other zones. It really depends on what zone you're in. Not everybody has murder bees, but it is damage. Shaman bring the strongest dots in the game, even better than Necromancers, actually. So what that combo will do is put up 2 of the strongest dots in the game, and then use the best ratio weapon in the game with Puma procs. And just like outlast anything and live through anything. You have the best slow in the game, which is Shaman. You have the best CC in the game, which is Enchanter. You have arguably the best pet, depending on what zone you're in, with Charm. You have Lay on Hands, just in case anything goes wrong. Excellent equipment. And a bunch of buffs to all of your stats and some of your resists and your mana pool. So overall, it's an extremely powerful combination utility-wise. Its damage is a little low, but it will always win every fight it enters. If that sounds like a good combination to you, you could do it. The biggest downside, I would say, to that combo is the leveling is going to be really... It's going to be a slog. Shaman, anything with a Shaman is going to be a slog to level with, in my personal opinion, although I guess it depends on who you are and what you like. But that sounds like a big slog to level, and then when you get to max level, you have infinite power. Not crazy damage, but infinite power. An answer to any problem. John EverQuest. He has every ability. You even get Feign Death because of a ring. There's a Shaman ring that gives you a Feign Death, so you even have that if you want on a cooldown. I think this is the guy you got to stay in overchannel for, because he just resists too hard. So my casts are going to be slow, and they're going to cost extra mana, but it just has to be done. And every once in a while, he has a proc that does a shitload of damage, but nothing else he does. So this is where we spend the Harm Touch. If I had evasive stance, that would be the stance I would be in against Hand of Vishan. If your class combo gets access to evasive stance, the Hand of Vishan is a chump. He doesn't do anything. Because he has to actually hit you to proc the giant damage. And his normal hits don't actually do a lot of damage. So evasive stance just auto-defeats him. You gotta kind of sweat a little bit if you don't have it. So we've entered the cast 1 rend, cast 1 drain rotation. Just keep our life up. Because he can randomly do half my entire life bar in damage if he procs twice in a row. You can the chance of dying out of nowhere against him is actually pretty high. Ifriti War Axe. Used for Fang Goal or something like that. The warrior equip. Which I still don't have. You have an extremely important question that you're sure everyone in the chat and Mr. Woah will feel is relevant. What character in Marvel Rivals should you learn next? I don't know what characters are in that game. It looked like Overwatch, only worse. I don't know. I don't know who's in it. Is Overwatch a bit better? Okay. If Magneto or if Doctor Doom is in the game, play him. I don't know if he's Marvel or not. I'm not a comic guy. But Doctor Doom, if he's not in it, then play Magneto, because Magneto is Doctor Doom, except less interesting. And if Magneto isn't in it and Doctor Doom aren't in it, then just play the hottest girl. At least you have something easy on the eyes while you're losing. Doom is coming at the end of the year? Hell yeah. Look up Captain Schlong America. I don't want to be put on a list. Hey, good question. Mag is one of your first mains and you already know him like 100 hours? Hell yeah. How do you know what is good game design? Seems like a leading question. We just talked about how players say stuff like that's bad design when what they really mean is that wasn't fun. And so I would kind of ban the corollary as well. Typically. People have written entire books answering that question. I don't know if I could properly give you one live. You've been working on your own TTRPG and you've tried to balance the two ideas of numbers and excitement. You get a feel when things seem too weak or too strong. Yeah, the real answer is you have to play your game a ton with an eye towards what the boots on the ground player experience is going to be at various levels. And then make good decisions and have a strong vision that answers tiebreakers, which is not a good answer, right? But that's what it is. Make good decisions, consider how the players are going to boots on the ground handle it from the customer experience, play your game a shitload, make other good decisions, have a strong vision, and then play your game more, even yet more. And then find playtesters that are good, that can give you good feedback. None of these observations are helpful, and I realize that. I started this fight improperly, and I think I might slowly lose it because of that. Unless I crit with a Drain Life. Because I can't remember which resistance to use against Eye of Vishan. But it's not fire. I think it's Rend, but we'll see if it's Ice Comet. It's maybe Ice Comet. No, I think it is Rend. It's the boring one. Nope. Everything resists. Okay. Alright, we drain spam. Maybe it's just over channel fire and drain. Yeah. Cast slow, but at least it works. This is why we have such a huge mana pool, so you can afford to make a inefficient choice and still win. Put up a little rune while I'm at it. Shaman symbol. Interesting. Alright, Plane of Sky defeated. Quest room. Good design is just fun and feels good, while bad design makes the player feel bad or flaccid. Or bored. What's that Gaben quote? It's something like, fun is the degree to which the game recognizes and responds to players' choices and decisions. It's an ad hoc definition of fun, but it's the best one I've come across. Feathered cape. It's a berserker item, which can make Shroud of the Sky, which I have not made yet. It's also part of the magician thing to make Bracelet of Clarification, which unfortunately I've also not made yet, so I have to choose. I choose berserker because I've done more of them. And so that requires Wind Rune Azia. Open the Dragon's Horde while we're at it. Azia Rune, of which I have 13, so we're there. Light Cloth Mantle, which I believe I've made into a thing already. It's the Enchanter Shoulder. Yes, I've made that one already. So don't need that. And that can get deleted. Spiritualist Ring, which is Shaman. I believe this is the... Is this the Feign Death Ring? It is. Hell yeah. Which I already have made. But I will make another because I want to pull that click effect out of it. So Wind Rune Hida with an H, of which I have 11. Symbol of Vishan. Which makes Garduke Nukem with Ifriti War Maul, which I think I've already made. No, I have not. I haven't. Okay, perfect. Ifriti War Maul, which I believe I have a bunch of. No, I don't have a bunch. I have a one. But I only need to make a one, so we're good. And then Wind Rune Giza. Like an old timer, Giza. There's a lot of chat questions that I will answer after I do all this bookkeeping and accounting. Ifriti War Axe. Which, with the Blood Sky Ruby, makes Kaldorn the Blood Drinker, which I already have, but I want more of. But I don't have a Blood Sky Ruby, I don't think. I have a Sapphire. Okay. Go in the bin. Light Woolen Mantle for Bard. Which makes Mantle of the Songweaver, which I already have, so I don't need. Oh, Oh, but it is actually used for 2 things. No, it's only for 1. Okay, so Mantle the Songweaver. And it has Click Effect Furry. I mean, sure. Yeah, we'll make another one of these. Windroom Kayla with a K. Of which I have 8, so we're good there. Ceramic Mask, which is a mage thing, which I think I have. I don't. Good, okay. Which is Windroom Niza with an N. That I have 10 of, so we're good there. And finally, the Wind Staff, which makes the Enchanter thing, which I have. And that doesn't do anything. And it sucks. And it's 2-hander and it's bad, so we delete it. Okay. There, I got my house in order. And I can turn all these in a second. FUD. F-U-D. There was a skin given to Captain America where he unironically had a foot-long schlong. It clipped through various things and other animations. Finally. All I'm saying is we should have equal thirst traps for both. Which we historically mostly have had, to be honest. You know. Generally against puritanical, pearl-clutching censorship of thirst traps. I'm just saying make both. Gotta just make a good and fun game. You do appreciate it. Playing it has helped you a bunch. It's helpful. You get into your head sometimes, and it's good to hear the simple play it. Yeah, you do have to play it a lot. These are actually good words. Yeah, so that thing that Gaben said that I quoted is really important. Don't forget that one of is it 2 things? I'll say 2 things should probably be the guiding star here. And I'm way oversimplifying this, all right? But the first is what does it mean to be boring? Why is a game boring? And there's a bunch of reasons for a game to be boring. But one of the surefire ways to make everyone hate your game, or not even hate it, just not play it and not care, is, and you hear these buzzwords all the time, and one of them is player agency. When the player feels like their choices don't matter, you got to wonder why you're even playing the game at all. And you generally choose not to. Think about games where it's only pure randomness, or it's a passive experience, those 2 things. And these are both ways to get to player agency feeling like it doesn't matter. And if it's pure randomness, nobody likes pure randomness except a child. And I'm not talking down to you, I'm talking developmentally. If anybody in chat works with young children or developmentally disabled people, well, not that, but just there comes an age in the average human being's life where they're really excited by pure random games, you know? And then they cross a threshold and they start being more excited by making decisions. And having the game react to and respect the actions they have chosen to take. And then on the passive side, watching the dominoes fall and watching everything play out, at a certain point, why aren't you just watching a movie? Okay. And so there's pure gambling and watching a movie, and then there's a game which really should be, and the concept of a game should sit between both of those. Now, it's a spectrum, yeah. And some people play gacha games, but we don't consider them people. And some people like games where there's 7 hours of cutscenes, and you press X to go to the next thing, and these are called visual novels, and we don't consider them people either. You should make a game with mechanics. And there's a reason it's called a visual novel, because they might as well be reading, they just want a picture, and that's fine. But it's almost not a game, okay? I've enjoyed visual novels before. I like them. Some of them are even good. But they're just barely games, and I understand this. And on the other side of it is you should worship at the altar of elegance. Being concise. Being exacting without sounding clinical. And this is to do specifically with the writing of your rules, the mechanics. It should follow such specificity that it would almost be called legalese, if not for the elegance of that writing. The longer your rules text for any particular rule gets, the worse it is, and this is a 1-to-1. Don't spend 3 paragraphs trying to explain an idea that should be simple. Now, what I'm telling you to do here is really fucking hard. Because the essence of struggle in writing rules for anything is you really do have what you're picturing in your head. Resolving that rule and playing it is actually really simple. But sometimes it's very difficult to explain a simple thing in as few words as possible, while also making it very understandable in a way that can't be misconstrued. And then also thinking, okay, well, when the players are doing it, is that a smooth, fast experience? Or is it slow and stilted and requires steps in real life over like this step and then that step and then that step? So now it's like a slog as you're actually playing it. Consider also that people are going to have to resolve this stuff in real life and what they're going to have to do that. Oh, none of this stuff is simple and I'm just saying stuff, but it's things to consider. Who was I going to give this to? The Berserker, Stragan the HeyWoah. The Hulking Hewer. Alright, Shroud of the Ski. Nice. This one's Shaman. And you'd think Shaman is Animist, but that's Beast Lord. We're talking to Medicine Man Vitra. He is the Shaman. I'm wrong. Spiritualist Ring. Hello. Oh, I need Bixie Essence as well. Do I have a Bixie Essence? I might not. I needed a third thing for that one. Nope, we got it. Easy. Oh, so easy. I happen to have 2. Big, big, big. Okay. I'll give these back. Give me the fucking ring. Thank you. And then also Shaman. For the Googla, or whatever. Gardaruk. The Bard, which is like Song Spell Singer. Yeah, that one. Mantle the Song Weaveler. And then the Mage. And those are easy because it's just called like Enchanter so-and-so, Magus so-and-so. The Mask of Empowerment. Do the difficulties give more XP, or is it just a gear thing? For everything but Plane of Scott. Oh, okay. So the difficulties, you get, I think it's 20% more XP per difficulty. But this is just like Players 8 in Diablo, where every difficulty gives you a bonus to XP, but it is slower because things have more hit points and they're harder. And so, while at the point of sale it gives you more XP, what you really care about is XP per hour. And so it's often not worth going up in difficulty if you're just trying to level. You want to just never have to wait for respawns, but always be killing stuff. Now, if you do higher difficulties, it also has a higher moat chance drop, so you want that. And it gives more pluses to the gear. Like if you're in difficulty 4, a +4 will always drop of an item, if you care about item drops, and you often do. And farming D4 is what you want to eventually do for the most part. For the most part, you always want to be in D4 at the end game. The exception to that is exactly Plane of Sky, which I'm in right now, because you don't care about any of the actual drops, you're getting quest item drops. And Plane of Sky is really hard. And so Plane of Sky is the only end game thing you do at D0, and it's actually ideal to do it there, because you don't care about the, you know, a +4 quest item is still just going to give you the normal thing. So it doesn't matter. This randomness is not talking about how dice rolls affect the game, but it's like pure chance, like Catan. But again, the rewards player choices to negate said randomness is good. Players are going to want to do that, and that's fine. This doesn't mean don't put randomness in your game, make your game chess. But what it does mean is if there are things that are random in the game, your players are going to want to reduce that randomness by making choices. Like, I want +1 to hit. What is +1 to hit? It reduces the random chance of you missing. That's fine. Players like to build towards that, so give them the opportunity to do so. Click effects are 3, right? I think. Procs are 4. I think click effects are 3. Let's see. So I think I have to level these up. Yeah, cool. Bink. And I'll keep this here just to remind me that I already got this one. And we'll put the click effect to there. So when I'm a shaman, now I have Feign Death, and that's awesome. Super good. And then Mantle of the Songweaver. We'll level those up and pull that out. So when I'm a bard, I can have a clicky effect Fury, which is not normally a buff that I have access to. That's a bard combo. Pull that out. Now I can right-click Fury as the bard stuff. Big. And we'll keep it to remind me that I already did that. Huge. And this thing has Burnout 3, which you don't want to pull out because it doesn't matter. You just cast that spell. It's fine. Breastplates can go over here now. Shoulders, Raging Strength is a bad spell. So we'll put it in the shoulder area. And Garduke, which is targets insects, which normally you would want as a click, but it's a combat effect, so we don't want it. There we go. Nice. Plane of Sky. Always nice to get stuff and be working on stuff. You love to see it. BRB one moment. I will continue this conversation and answer all those questions in a second.
Right now, you could be savoring the rich, creamy flavor of angel food ice cream. It's the extra cream in angel food that blends all of your favorite flavors so they're always smooth and creamy, never pointy. How about some rich and creamy angel food ice cream right now?
Damn, I could go for some angel food ice cream right now. Holy. Anyway, welcome back. Yeah, right now. Back to Sky Island and game design talk. Anyway, the higher difficulties, just to quickly do it, is starting with difficulty 2. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of them. 0 is what you level with, especially your first character. At D2, the NPCs start to get a second class sometimes. So that's when they get 2 classes. Every difficulty increases their resists, certain stats, and the damage and stuff, and their skill numbers, and increase their hit points by a lot every time. At D2, it's a jump up, because when you add an extra class, they get an entire base amount of hit points on top of the difficulty hit points. And then in D4, some stuff has 3 classes. And a lot more stuff. Almost everything is multi-classed in D3 and 4, especially 4. Bigger motes drop, more XP each time, and an item can't roll less than what the difficulty is in pluses. So if you're going for a Babsy, right, a Blackened Alloy Bastard Sword, if you're doing a D3, the minimum that can drop is a +3. If you're doing it in 4, minimum that can drop is +4, etc. Has a minute chance of rolling higher, but it never does. Typically with leveling, you want to level in D0, just because a 20% bonus XP that you're killing 30% slower is inefficient, right? But if you got yourself some good drops and your character is just powerful, and you're leveling in an area where you find yourself killing everything and then you have to wait for respawns, well, you're wasting time. If you're waiting for respawns, bump up the difficulty until you're non-stop killing in the most efficient way, right? So sometimes that might be D2. Usually it's D0. But it just depends on what your combo is. Some combos are just way better at leveling than others. Or more fun at leveling than others, or whatever would have you. Some classes are late bloomers, as they say. Shaman is literally an awful class. It's just bad. But then on the second half, like in the late 30s, early 40s, it starts to wake up, and then at 50, it's downright overpowered. And so some classes are good all the way through, and some are good only early, and some are good late. What are these anime villains around you? These are the Council of Ifritai. One for every class. In Plane of Sky, you get random drops everywhere, which are a bunch of random quest items, plus a bunch of gems that all have different names. Azia, Jiza, Biza, Fiza, etc. And they're like class armor quests. And so you turn them in when you collect enough of them at random to make class quest items. Some of them are the best in the game. Some of them have really good click effects that you can take out and put in something else. And some of them are just terrible. The average Sky Quest item is bad. Like a third of them have a good click item, and then usually one per class is really, really good. Sometimes some of the best. If you do every one of a particular class's quest, you unlock that class as one of your primaries. So you can like, ooh, now I can be a paladin because I did all the paladin ones for your primary. And this is how you unlock all of them if you don't want to pay money, which I don't. And as you can see, I've only unlocked one out of the besides the 2 that you get automatically for leveling to 50. But doing all the Plane of Sky quests, besides like the raids and moat farming, it's like all you do at the end game. And so I'm not going to pay to... I'm not going to spend money to get rid of the last thing that I have to do at the end game. Like, this is the game. I'll unlock stuff in Sky and Fear until I'm bored, and then I'll stop. Anyway, getting back to the Ant-Man's questions, if he's still in chat on the YouTube side. You try to understand why people like games, why you like games, and how you can emulate those things. Yeah. Here's a design lesson that I heard about now from some, I don't know, somebody did like a panel and they were talking about, or not a panel, but it was a developer interview for someone who worked on Diablo 3, right? And I don't know how much you know the history of this stuff. But in Diablo 2, every time you leveled up, you get 5 skill points. Or sorry, you get 1 skill point and 5 attribute points. And we're going to talk about the attribute half of it. You get 5 attribute points, and the attributes in Diablo 2 is strength, dex, stamina, mana. Okay. You had 4 choices. And you could distribute those 5 points however you wanted, and you had 99 levels to get. Plus an extra like 8 or something from quests. Or maybe 15. You do everything 3 times. Point is, you get like 100 points, or you get like 500 points or so to add to your stats in Diablo. And you can distribute them however you want as you're leveling up. Now, players very quickly learned that the ideal way to distribute your attributes as you leveled up is to put the minimum amount you need into strength and dexterity to qualify for wearing your target endgame gear. Like an Archon plate needs a certain amount of strength, and if you're going to have a spirit shield, then you need like 125 strength or something like that. You plot it out, and you take the minimum amount of strength required and dex to wear your equipment, and then everything else should go into stamina, and you should never spend even 1 point in mana. And players learned this, and that's just true. Now, here and there, you had decisions to make still, depending on what gear you were targeting, whether it was, maybe you're playing hardcore, and so you want way more dex so that you can get block capped, depending on the level of monster you're fighting. Or you're playing softcore and you don't care about that. Or you're speed running, so maybe putting points into mana is actually good because you only care about beating the game 1 time, and putting mana there instead of saving it for later is good, or, you know, whatever. Or you're doing some weird werewolf druid who's going to put all his points in strength because he's going to use, I can't remember the name of that scythe that auto procs Decrepify by using the lifesteal werewolf ability, so you don't care if your hit points are low because you heal to full every single hit. And so there were some weirdos who did weird things, but for the most part, you put everything into stamina except for the requirements on your gear. And this is just sort of solved. And so when they were making Diablo 3, what the designers did was they're like, well, everyone just chooses the right choice. Like, everybody knows it's the meta. You just put the requirements in for your gear, and then everything else goes in stamina. And so if everyone's just going to do the same thing anyway, every time you level, we'll just auto assign your points for you. And we'll distribute them so that it's a little more sensical. So your mana goes up every level and you don't have to suffer early because you're trying to save for later, and so on and so forth. So since everyone makes the same choice anyway, we'll just make it for you. But this is actually bad design. Now, I'm going to use that term that I said not to use because this is. That's bad design. Why would you take the choice the players have away? Even if you know there's a right choice and the players know there's a right choice. It is fun for players to make a choice, even if it's quote unquote, there's only one, there's only the right one. It's better than taking that choice away from them. Because remember the thing that I minimized before, some people do weird things. Like the werewolf guy that puts everything in strength or whatever, or the hardcore guy that puts more into agility because he wants to get block capped. Well, that's interesting. You can choose to do that if you want, and sometimes that's fun. And just because everyone, quote unquote, is going to make the same choice doesn't mean you shouldn't give them that choice. That's kind of like what games are. You know, you drop someone in the starting area, and it's a little cave, and there's one tunnel out of the cave. Well, everyone's going to walk down the one tunnel out of the starting cave. Should you get rid of that tunnel? Because everyone's going to walk down it? No. And so the lesson is, don't take away player choice because you think it has been solved. And you might be right. Because sometimes it's fun for players to make choices even if they're obvious ones. Now, a better outcome is that once everyone solves the game, there's two choices. There's one choice if you're, let's say, pretend. There's one choice if you're melee and one choice if you're wizard, and you distribute your stats in one of two different ways. Well, that would be better than everyone does the same thing, right? So it's not that there's not better outcomes. It's just that the difference between making the obvious choice or not giving them the choice, you'd rather your players make a decision. And notice how I said when your game gets solved, because it just will. Don't worry about it. But definitely keep it in mind. Games tend to become solved over time, and a lot faster now that there's the internet. And if not the game, then a lot of the decisions within it. This isn't a bad thing to fight against. It's just the nature of reality. Anyway, I hope the Ant-Man is still around for that. What is it about Rifts that truly speaks to you as a player? What draws you in and keeps you invested? You love that stream you made about it. What I love about Rifts is that the thing it gets the most wrong is the least important thing about tabletop gaming. And everyone historically kind of shits on it for that, which is having rules that are mostly kind of bad. Like, its rules are not great. The rule system is not great and contradictory a lot. It's like the Bible. And some of the ways you do things don't make much sense. It probably requires you to house rule a bunch of stuff to get it working right. And you might say as a game designer, well, that's the whole fucking thing, basically. Like, there's other stuff, yeah, but that's the heart and soul of a game, is its rules. So why is it the best tabletop game ever? Because, and I'm mostly talking about a TTRPG here. This is special. This is different. That doesn't matter that much. Players will just fix it. They're supposed to. You buy a video game, you're just supposed to play the video game. You rent a movie, you're just supposed to watch the movie. You buy a tabletop RPG book, you are buying a motorcycle in pieces. You're supposed to assemble it yourself. And make whatever changes and tweaks and house rules you want. And then narrate your way through a shared storytelling experience with people you know. On the fly, off the cuff. Where everybody brings something to it. You're actively buying a fixer-upper, yeah. And Rifts has the best setting ever. Because it's everything. It's every single thing Kevin Simbidia ever saw in his whole life that he thought was cool. And every historical thing he could vaguely research in the card catalog of a local library before there was the internet. Plus comic books and anime. And just threw it all in a bag. There's 60 world books. Like, talk about deep, wide expanse of just information, world building, characters, names, dates, locations, items, equipment, gear, feats, spells, everything. There's just everything. You can descend as deep as you want into that dungeon and find stuff to make your thing out of. And it is so much better than modern tabletop RPGs. Especially Dungeons & Dragons. Whereas Dungeons & Dragons is like... This is why 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons is the worst edition ever. And the modern one... No, the modern ones are worse. But, you know... Because they're obsessed with balance and fairness and equality. And having the smoothest, fastest... get it and start rolling dice experience possible, but it's shallow. It's narrow and shallow, and there's nothing there. And you keep your hands and arms inside the cart at all times, and it doesn't give you any help for doing what TTRPGs are really about. Fourth edition is the best game Wizards has ever made. I mean, maybe. But the brutal truth is it's the worst. Because what makes a good tabletop role-playing game has nothing to do with game. It's not about being a good game. It's about being the best springboard for a world. And 4th edition D&D was a pretty decent, massively multiplayer online role-playing video game simulator. But it was a terrible TTRPG. And it certainly did not feel like Dungeons & Dragons. So, this is how you can succeed really well at doing something that isn't what you're supposed to do. You ever heard somebody say, like, oh, well, it was a really good X, but it wasn't Y? And Y was what it should have been. That's D&D 4. Hey, this is a very interesting modern art piece, but it's not a very good meal. It's not a... You know, you tried to make a souffle, you made a Rorschach painting that looks like my parents', but it's not a good souffle. Lancer, 13th Age, Draw Steel, all great games people enjoy without getting caught up in the doesn't feel like D&D problem. Well, it's not a problem for Lancer not to feel like D&D, because Lancer is Lancer. It's maybe a little bit of a problem if Pathfinder doesn't feel like D&D, because it's trying to be D&D. You know, or at least it was when it first came out. But D&D 4 was ostensibly called D&D, and that was its problem. But also... I don't know, we might just have different opinions here, but I would never want to play 4th Ed no matter what it was called. I don't think I have to kill the Thunder Spirit guy anymore. I've done that a million times. I'm really just looking for the last boss. Maybe the final thing here will be a little... We'll just book it to the last guy. I appreciate you taking your time to answer. A lot of my answers are like broad strokes, not specific, and like obvious things that everyone knows. But that's the problem with game design, is that is the best advice. Broad philosophical mulings and shit everyone knows. But that's why it's hard. It's because everyone knows what to do. It's just difficult to actually do it. I could describe very easily how to throw the basketball from the three-point line with a 7'1" guy standing in front of you waving his arms around. Yeah, you just shoot the ball into the basket, retard. Like, yeah, you do. But actually doing it, pretty challenging. Anyway, notice that I never called, I don't think. I'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I ever called 4th a bad game. Because it's obviously not. But I did not like it. And also, I think there's a difference between like a bad game and a bad TTRPG, or a TTRPG that missed the mark, or not D&D or whatever. They're meaningfully different. Mechanically, it's better than 5th, maybe? Is this true? Is that the case, I wonder? 5th had one really, really brilliant idea. Where's the hand? Does the hand not spawn unless I kill some other stuff? That might be the case. Or he's just fucking chilling somewhere. I've never ran here fast enough. Maybe he shows up later. I've always just done the islands. We'll see if he spawns and I die. Because he might spawn when I attack I. Let's see. Buff up quick. Anyway, the brilliance... One of the brilliancies of 5th was the advantage, disadvantage. That was brilliant. Rolling 2d20s if you have advantage. Take the best. If you have disadvantage, take the worst of the two. Genius idea. Doesn't actually affect the numbers nearly as much as you think as a player. But that's why it's perfect, is because it feels so good. It doesn't rock the boat under the hood, really, if you look into it. But it feels great, and it is a bonus. And tactile, rolling 2 dice, it's perfect. It's so good. Every single other thing about 5th edition, I think, is either worse than previous editions or bad in a different way. So I'm pretty critical of it. But man, that advantage-disadvantage thing is genius. Alright, let's see if this spawns the hand by attacking this guy. Maybe it won't. Maybe he's a thing that appears once you kill some other thing. It's possible. You don't really know these things. You've gone by the seat of your pants vibes and stuff. And Munchkin Spike players, you've needed to hear the basics. Get your head in the clouds of chasing the perfect thing. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the mindset you ought to have. And then you just gotta fight against it sometimes. One thing when building a rule set, to constantly be asking yourself, there's like a thing in companies, I don't know what it's called because I'm not a businessman, but there's like a customer experience thing. And maybe it's a guy, or maybe it's a department, or maybe they don't have one, I'm not sure, but like the kind of person who, okay, you're designing a website, and then some guy goes to that website and he's like, right now I'm role-playing as a customer. And I'm clicking on your website, and what I want to do is I want to buy wolves. Just some wolves, okay? And I go to Games Workshop's website. What is my experience going to their website without knowing anything about it and finding a box of wolves to buy? How many times do I have to click to do that? How many menus do I have to see? If I don't quite know what their name is and I try to search for them, does that search show them to me? Or does it say, can't, like, not found because I didn't use the exact thing? How many overlays and splash screens and pop-ups do I see on my way to find that box? In the product info page, how many times do I have to click to figure out how many are in the box? Does it prompt you to sign up? Or can I just click PayPal? You know, like the boots on the ground customer experience. Always be thinking about that every step of the way, always when you're writing rules. Oh, strength, intelligence, speed. Right, those are my 3 stats. Okay, well, what are players going to do? Just by reading the rules, what do the rules kind of oblige the players to choose here? Can you ignore one? If you find out one is the best, players are going to want to take that one. Are you going to punish them for not going Neapolitan? If you punish them too hard, then you have to go Neapolitan, and there isn't really a choice, and the players are going to think that, you know. How much of the rules or core mechanics can players ignore and still win? Because typically, a player is going to try to ignore as many of your mechanics as possible so that they can specialize and zero in on one thing. It's just what people do. Can you build around this? Is this a cool... Okay, here's a cool mechanic or an idea. Can I make it better? Can I build around that? Oh, you get a... You know, whenever you block something, you get a block token. And you can spend 2 block tokens to do damage. Alright. That's cool. Can I increase my block so I block more often and get more tokens? Is there a limit to the number of tokens you can have at any one time? If so, can I increase that? Can I get 2 tokens instead of getting 1 sometimes? Can I make it cheaper to spend them? Can I increase the damage when I do? Can I build a character that just does that? Or is it just like one thing that happens to be there? Like the type of player that's trying to play games like that is going to want to do all those things or see if they can. For sometimes mechanics that you didn't put a lot of thought into because it's just one extra thing. I'm going to die here and I don't care because I was going to teleport back anyway. In fact, I guess I could just jump off the cliff, but I'm stun locked here forever. Anyway, the whole point was that I left the instance anyway. Yeah, can I use the tokens for other things? Can you spend block tokens on some other thing? And so now it's a little engine to do that other thing. Is that other thing too good and no one is ever going to spend the block tokens to actually block with? Is that fine? One thing players really like is doing stuff in the game that feels like it wasn't intended to do in that particular way, but it's good. But this is like it's like a mystery movie in filmmaking. You leave clues places, and so the attentive viewer can figure it out, and then they can feel like they're smart. And one of the best tricks a game designer can do is trick the player into thinking that they were smart by figuring out an interaction that the game seems like isn't intended, but it still works. But you put it there on purpose to do that. You created that feeling of them thinking that they outsmarted the game, but they didn't. That's fine too. We care about feelings here, not facts. And they'll find stuff you didn't think of plenty. Don't worry. Like the 99 cards in a precon that you're supposed to change to make the deck better, yeah. Also, it's okay to let things work. It's okay to just let stuff work. When people, I don't know, I haven't seen that video, but probably the video was talking about the illusion of balance and how find me a perfectly balanced game and I'll show you the most boring game no one cares about ever. Is the exciting and memorable things about your favorite game from years ago, all those things that you liked were imbalances. Some of them drastic, ruinous imbalances that should have meant the game was bad, but actually it meant the game was good. And you think back and you're like, damn, Sorceress was so broken because she could teleport. And a Hammerdin was so broken because he did AoE damage that only the Amon-Ket guys are immune to. And they were imbalanced, they were broken. But 20 years later, people fondly recall that because it was the exciting part. Even chess is imbalanced? Yeah, who starts? Because white has the advantage. But then, knowing something is an advantage, sometimes you can play around it. Anyway, I gotta head out. It's time. Did more talking than playing, but we got some stuff accomplished. Not bad. Thanks for the chat. Appreciate. Somebody wanted advice on EQL, but they couldn't show up until after work. We'll see about that. I might just type up a bunch on Discord for them. Can't remember who 'twas. But thanks for watching. See you guys later. Big gaming.